Hey there, you're listening to You Still Going On About That with Rob Israel and Joseph K. You can find us anywhere you could download podcasts. You could also find us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook at YSGOAT. Thanks for listening. I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
And you still going on about
that?
All right, Joseph. How's it going?
It's going well.
What's today's date?
It's June 22nd, 2022.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, well, actually, this is a day past the summer solstice, and we're a little over halfway through the year.
That's crazy.
It is.
You know, I think that it has been that big of an eventful year for me, but we did move.
You did. That's a big move. Yeah.
That is literally a big move.
Yep.
And it's also 10:02 p.m. right now.
11:02 p.m. Central Time.
I don't know what you're talking about. What is this Central Time thing? There's only one time, and it's right now.
Yeah. Time is relative in that way.
Yeah.
Time is.
It's an endless loop. What did you say? There's the universe will start over. There's a theory.
Oh yeah, the theory is that as the universe expands, time goes forward, and then it hits this critical point and starts to contract, and then everything that has happened happens again, but in reverse.
That sounds awful.
It sounds horrifying. And it's honestly just as plausible as nearly any other thing that could happen. So
I wonder if would there even be existence?
See, that's the thing. It's I don't know if that would include consciousness, because we can only really kind of conceptualize consciousness in this forward moving sense. But maybe, did you ever see that movie Arrival? Did you see the movie Arrival?
Is that the one with what's her name? The one who plays Lois in the Man of Steel movie?
Yeah, Amy Adams, is it? Or
it was okay. Who directed that?
It was it was the guy who did Dune, I think.
Yeah, it was okay. I think I saw that in an airplane. I mean, it's it was all about language, and the movie it was in and out, takes place over a bunch of years, but jumps.
Yeah.
Sometimes I hate those type of narratives because it's it makes it really hard to follow the movie.
It was about language. I think she's a linguist, but the key was that the aliens didn't experience time like we do. They didn't. Their consciousness experienced all times at once, and so they could. Their past and future were kind of indistinguishable in a way.
How was she able to communicate them then again? I forgot.
It was, gosh, I forget too. That basically there's that famous scene where she's in a large room, and those squid aliens are kind of they suction cup their flippers or whatever to the window, and she does. It's something to do with math or something. I don't know. I thought it was a good movie, but you're right. It's a little slow. It's very thinky. But it was good. It was based on a short story. It
was back because it's she has his daughter and dies of cancer.
Yep.
But then the movie takes place over decades, it seems, because she doesn't have the kid in the beginning.
Yeah. Well,
but
and you find out that she gets a glimpse of the future, and she knows that if she has a daughter, the daughter will develop cancer and die very young, and she decides to do it anyway because she wants to experience loving her daughter for those 6 years or whatever. And her husband finds out that she knew that and leaves her as a result of it. There's a lot going on in there. But
isn't anyway, there also she has to do this too because the aliens will something to do with the aliens as well?
I don't remember that being the case. I only saw the movie once, and I read the short story a couple times. I just remember that that language-wise, all the countries thought they translated the word as bomb or weapon or something, but then the woman is no, this also could mean tool, and that's what they're saying is
they're all a bunch of tools. That's what alien is.
Yeah,
or they really love the band,
right?
Although
their language is based on like Maynard's guitar noodlings or something.
Yeah. Like, and what I liked about the aliens too, from remember, it was like kind of hard to tell how big they were.
Yeah.
Because they were like a bottom, but like they were like in this foggy, like
like an atmosphere or something they had to be contained in. Yeah. Well, anyway, that being said, I don't know if if the universe eventually starts to contract, if all this does happen, I don't know if we'd experience like consciousness the way we're used to.
Like you get digged out of the grave.
Yeah. I mean, like imagine that. Like imagine just being like shocked into full consciousness of everything that experienced. And then as you like go, presumably backwards in time, like you
would lose things.
Yeah. It's just, that's a very, do you ever like take a nap like in the middle of the day and you wake up and you like literally have no idea where you are or like
those are like weird naps. And you just slept for like 20 minutes or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the worst. I hate those.
It only happens.
Feeling.
Yeah, and like I had one of those pretty recently. I woke up and I literally, for a brief moment, like I didn't even know who I was. I was just like, "What the fuck am I?" And I would imagine that life would be entirely like that the entire time it's occurring. So that would suck.
Yeah, I don't think it's gonna. I don't know. But you know what? Well, I get that's the thing. I could say like we won't be there for that, but technically,
but we would be. Yeah.
We could be there for that because
we will technically be having this exact same conversation yet in reverse. Yeah, right.
Talking like that because we're talking backwards.
Right. It'll be like an extended Red Room series sequence from like a Twin Peaks.
I am the arm.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I'm getting a little turned around on this then. This may be okay. So
now that you made it cool, like David
yeah,
I await our torturous reversal life. It's
yeah.
All right. So what are we talking about?
All right, we're talking about the last episode of Obi-Wan and episode 3 of Ms. Marvel. We're going to talk about kind of an awful shift in Republican policies or politics. They've gone pretty full anti LGBTQ. I mean, they've gone.
They've been doing this for years, but now they're really ramping it up with like anything that has, going after like having like the Proud Boys and stuff coming up and showing up at like those drag queen like story time things. I'm like, really? Well, I mean, if anything, they're the ones scaring the kids.
It's just crazy. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the January 6th stuff that's been happening. We're talking about the hearings. The hearings. The New Mexico County election.
It's a follow-up to last week.
That's a good one. We're talking about the South Dakota Attorney General.
We've talked about that like last year or something. Yeah. You brought that up and talked about how this guy had like a dead body, or he hit somebody and he had the glasses or something.
It was the craziest story. We'll talk about that.
Yep.
We're going to talk about a little bit about the Uvalde police response and situation, and kind of factor that into the gun control thing that looks like it's going to pass. To be honest with you, I think that's a go. And then we're going to talk about the Board Nazi Yacht Club and their connection to Nazism. I guess there's not really another way to say it.
Yeah. The Board Apes, the NFTs, it's like a Nazi troll thing.
Yeah. I think that's a really interesting story. I think I certainly agree with it.
Well, we'll get into it later.
Yeah,
we'll talk about that.
And then we're going to wrap up by talking about Twitter and Elon Musk.
Ugh.
Yeah.
The never-ending saga.
Yeah. Oof. All right. So first things first, I watched Obi-Wan and then Ms. Marvel tonight.
Obi-Wan.
I wish I
say it in a weird, sarcastic Obi-Wan.
I wish I had watched them in reverse. They were both really great, but they're very different shows. And Obi-Wan was kind of like this big kind of grand.
It was the very emotional episode, and it was the last episode, it was the finale, and this is only the third episode of the series, and
right. And I think Ms. Marvel for me kind of suffered in comparison a little bit because of that, which is an unfair comparison. But I watched Obi-Wan and then I watched Ms. Marvel. They were both great. And you watched them both too. What did you watch one before the other?
I watched Obi-Wan first.
Yeah.
And I watched Ms. Marvel afterwards. I watched Obi-Wan when it premiered, and I was gonna watch Ms. Marvel. And it was just getting late. I was like, I'll just finish this tomorrow.
That probably was for the best, I think. Yeah, to take a palate cleanser between.
I mean, Obi-Wan was so good. It was definitely like, it definitely wrapped up the series really well.
Yep.
Last week's episode was really good too.
Oh yeah.
So you got 2 really good episodes to like kind of, the first 4, they're good. Some are better than the other. And we talked about each episode. You can go back and listen in the past 4 weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the 1 and 2 premiered together.
Right.
So technically this was a 5-week journey instead of a 6-week journey. I think overall this series, we were like, where's this going? What is the point of it? And I think it wrapped up in a way that it told like a really solid story.
Yes.
Gave new insight to it did a good job of like some of the weird loose ends and things, that inconsistencies that the prequels had that led up to the original trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, these movies came out like 20 years ago already, which is insane when you think about it.
Yeah.
Like, it's getting to the point now that like when Star Wars Episode 1 came out, the movie Star Wars itself was like 22 years old.
Yeah.
And now Episode 1 is older than what Star Wars was back then. Do you know what I mean?
We're just like 5 years away from a 50th anniversary of Star Wars. A New Hope.
We're like a little less. Yeah. I mean, we literally just passed the 45th anniversary of Star Wars. And which would be great because that's how it works. I'm turning 45 this year. I was in my mom's stomach when she saw Star Wars. And like a Joey, like a kangaroo.
Yeah, right.
My little head was sticking out of the pouch. I can't wait till I turn 50.
Right.
To watch. No, I'm kidding. That's not fair. But like, it's great. So like, the prequels are old movies already.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, like, and it kind of worked out in a way that like, it's kind of funny. Someone brought up and said that like, Alec Guinness was only 58 when he made Star Wars. He wasn't that old. It's just his hair was white. They made him look, I mean, he wasn't that old. His hair was white and he was wearing this like old man cloak. So
they kept reinforcing that he was old man. I mean, the narrative kind of also led to you believing.
In the 70s was old. I mean, you only lived to like maybe 62 back then.
That's true.
Right? Wasn't it? I wonder what the average life expectancy back in 1977 was. It's probably lower than you think, even though I think it's gone down, the life expectancy in the United States.
Yeah, the last couple of years, it's been the first time in like a long time where it's gone down.
I wonder if COVID had anything to do with that.
Yeah. Okay. So in 1970, it was 78, 79 years. So no, that's in 2019.
Oh, all right. Never mind.
Yeah. So 78 years. Today it is
43.
No, I'm sorry. Now it's 78 years. Fuck. In 1970, it was like 73 years. 73. Yeah.
So we'll just add a couple, let's just say 75.
Right.
So the joke is that like Ewan McGregor's 51, and this series takes place in between episode. This takes place 10 years later, and then like basically New Hope is like 8 or 9 years later.
Right.
So the joke is that he kind of lines up with Alec Guinness's age.
Yeah.
When it gets to that point. It's crazy too, because it's like, it's weird. Like, this was Alec Guinness's character, and Ewan McGregor did a great job of kind of making this character his own. And now with this series, it's like he's Obi-Wan.
Oh, easily, yeah.
Sorry, Alec Guinness. Sorry,
yeah, Sir Alec Guinness.
Sir Alec Guinness. Ain't yours anymore. There's a new Obi-Wan in town.
Well, I was thinking about that when I was watching Obi-Wan tonight. I was like, this series really has kind of filled out the character for me, because like in Star Wars you only see Alec Guinness is a big part of A New Hope, and he's in there, and you kind of like you get a good sense of who he is, or more likely who he was. And then the Obi-Wan character in the 3 prequels was solid, but it wasn't written super well.
In one, he's like, it doesn't focus on him too much. Like, he's Qui-Gon's apprentice, and it focuses a lot more on Qui-Gon, especially like, I mean, when they go to Naboo, when they go to Tatooine and they discover Anakin, Obi-Wan's on the ship. He's not even there. Like, right. He doesn't go on that. He doesn't meet Anakin until after the pod race. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he has the big fight with Maul in the end and everything like that. And then 2, I mean, it focuses a lot on him. And then 3, that's really when, you know, he got to like really shine, I feel like. But this series was great. I mean, like, there is like a couple of weird things about it. I mean, I think they did a good job with Leia in the end, because we're like, okay.
Yes.
So, I mean, Leia was, and we talked about this in the previous episode, that it was always obvious, even though Leia and Luke are twins, they were born, they were separated and lived in 2 totally different lives. She lived with like, she was the daughter of a politician, basically, or I guess she's a princess. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird. Like, she's a princess, but like, Bail Organa's not king, right?
Yeah, it's weird because like the
is the wife of queen or something. Like,
they explain it in the prequels, like, because Naboo is also like a republic, but there's a princess. I think it's kind of like
this is Alderaan.
I think yeah, but they explained it similarly. I think it's kind of like modern day England, where theoretically a prince could be a minister of parliament or something. Like, you could be elected, like Prince Harry or whatever could run for office and get elected, and he'd be a prince and
they show that she's like was already kind of involved, and she was a little kid, didn't want to deal with it. Now she's like more involved, and she goes through this experience, and it just shows that like, and they kind of pretty much explain that in the first Star Wars movie, that you know, she's fully in the mix of this war.
Yeah.
Between the Star Wars, this war of the stars. And Luke is just this sheltered farm boy. So I think this show did a good job of like establishing again how Leia was. And like, you know, they make sure that she doesn't know that she has a brother.
Right.
Obi-Wan does make sure, but he does tell her, like, you have to keep this a secret. Like, you never met me, basically. Which probably explains why, like, when she leaves the message she acts like she never met him. It's like, you fought with my father in the Clone Wars. Because if that message did get to the Empire, and she's like, hey, remember when I was 10 and we went on that cool adventure and we fought Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers? That was cool.
I could even chalk it up to like that part, to Leia just not really having a real good, clear recollection of it, you know, and it never really
she is a kid too.
Yeah. I mean, like, people's perspectives when they're young are different than
I don't know. I think when I was 18, I remembered a lot of stuff from when I was 10 still.
Perhaps. Yeah, perhaps. I don't know.
I think she knew to, like, because he says that to her, like, you know, he tells her, and I am Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, so it's not, like, it makes sense why she named her kid Ben and now even more, because that's how she knew him, Obi-Wan Kenobi. But it also shows, like, she could keep a secret or whatever. I mean, listen, it's fine. You know, I mean, it's
I'm
not
more
like
worried by, like, Ben didn't pull Luke and Leia aside on the Death Star and say, like, look, it doesn't look great for us right now, but I gotta tell you guys a few things. So, you know,
you guys are twins.
Yeah.
And if you want to beat Vader, the best way to do it, spoilers, we're spoiling the hell out of this, is to just punch him in the fucking chest plate a bunch of times with a shoot him in the chest plate or punch him a bunch of times. Motherfucker can't breathe. He needs that to breathe. You can literally do whatever the fuck you want to him. Like, you don't even have to like. You don't have to be that good with the. You just gotta make sure to aim.
Like the chest plate.
Like that should. Like, if he just told the rebels of everyone, like, listen, aim for the chest plate.
Coordinate your fire.
One guy is gonna. If 50 people are shooting him, one of them is gonna get his chest plate, and then he's done. He's done. Like, I mean, it was okay. The fight was awesome. I love, like, it's kind of funny if you think about it. So you got this lava planet, right?
Yep.
And it's like hot, and it's like this is the true origin of Vader, and then you go to this like weird like planet that's like it's like these spikes or like they're not that. What are they?
Stalagmites.
It's almost like the after years of lava. There's no lava.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like a symbolism of like where they're at, and it's like invaders in that costume. I don't know. It just I felt like there was they didn't just pick that. Well, besides that, they were able to do cool rock tossings and stuff.
It was.
But I feel like there's some like symbolism of why it's on that planet and the environment that they were in.
It looked like hell.
Battle. What?
It looked like hell, you know, and that's probably like they're both in a hell of sorts, you know. I mean, like Vader obviously in a hell of his own making, but Ben was like also in hell based on like his guilt and all that kind of stuff, you know. I mean,
so I like that whole like so Ben Obi-Wan Kenobi, like they're in that ship, they're being chased by the Star Destroyer, kind of similar to like Last Jedi, but you know, better. And he tells Ice Cube's son that he's gotta go, and and they're like, no, you can't leave, whatever. He gets on a ship, goes to he tells Kamal Nanjiani, is that his name, to bring Leia home. I like that character. It was interesting.
It was real fun.
I wouldn't mind if I would like to see him somehow show up in the thing. It's kind of like
he could easily show up in like a Mandalorian episode, or
I mean, he would be a lot older. Remember, this does take. See, the problem is with these shows now that this is
before New Hope.
Before New Hope, this is this is like 8 or 9 years for New Hope, and Mandalorian's 5 years later. Listen, all you gotta do is throw a little gray hair and come out. Or, you know what? He could be from a planet where
they don't age.
Age is slower.
Yeah,
he could say that too. Hey, you wonder how I look good? Well, my people,
right?
We have 100 years longer than you do.
Well,
sure, that's all I needed. This is Star Wars. That's fine.
The middle part of this episode,
he's an Eternal.
I thought was shot so well. It's a whole bunch of like interesting camera angles. They did
this definitely was the most cinematic of the episodes too. Like there was some like it was such a Obi-Wan was weird in that like and had really good shots and everything like that. But then sometimes it just felt like a cheap TV show too. It was weird. But then this episode though, this one could have been like a movie. Like this
easily.
That fight scene was so good.
It was really nice. And then the scene where I'm kind of jumping ahead here, but the scene where Reva was coming in, closing in on Luke, because that's as Darth Vader and Obi-Wan are fighting. Reva has arrived at the Skywalker Ranch.
Yeah, in the end of episode 5, she gets that. Unfortunately, Kamal Nanjiani's character dropped the
holocron or whatever.
Yeah, and she sees the message of Jimmy Smits. Who I'm sorry, Jimmy Smits looks. I don't know. They're trying to make him look younger with makeup. He looks old.
yeah, he does.
I don't know how old he is, but I don't know if they were just like trying to like they put too much makeup on him or something to make him like smooth him out.
Well, as Darth Vader,
not that old. He's 66.
Yeah, as they're fighting, Reva is trying to abduct or kill Luke, and then she ultimately can't do it. She has a crisis of conscience, and she.
Well,
knows...
I mean, and it's crazy too because you see like this happening while he's fighting Darth Vader,
right? Yep.
And you're like, okay, is he gonna get there in time to save Luke? And by the time he does show up, you see her carrying, because she knocks over Luke. He's running away. And they did a good job of like hiding the fact that Luke doesn't see the lightsaber go off, because they point out like in an episode in Star Wars when Obi-Wan shows him a lightsaber, that's the first time Luke ever sees a lightsaber.
Yeah.
So they did a good job of like, he's running away. He doesn't know. The parent, his aunt and uncle tell him basically that we have Tusken Raiders or something.
Yeah, Tusken Raider attack.
Well, he doesn't tell him he's a Jedi. So they did a good job of kind of hiding that.
But it's a real nice shot because like you know Luke lives. I mean, so like in a way, yeah, because
but it's done well enough that you still have like they do a good job in adding drama to it and doing it good that you're like, could he get killed? Well, and that's that's the way, you know, they always say that like with like the prequel, like prequels don't work because you already know the outcome. But if it's done well, and there's enough like it's done well, the whole idea is to convince you emotionally or whatever that it may be this character is in peril.
And sometimes that's the fun of it, is like sometimes there is like dramatic irony is fun and it's like engaging. Like when you know the monster's hiding in the closet and the girl enters the room, the suspense isn't whether or not the monster's in the closet. You know the monster's in the closet. The suspense is what's happening as the result of you knowing that the character's not.
Then the character's reaction, how they sell it.
Yeah. And I thought this was kind of cool because, like, you know, Luke's going to live. So the real suspense is like, well, what is Reva going to do? Is she going to get stopped? Is she going to change her mind? Is she going to redeem herself? You know,
well, she sees Luke against the rock, you know, she knocks him out. He falls and kind of gets unconscious or whatever.
Yep.
And she sees herself.
Yeah. And that's such a great sequence.
And it's interesting too, because like Vader already like stabbed her in the 5th episode, and she's kind of like, I don't think she's ever gonna be welcomed back.
No, I can't imagine.
And it'd be like, you know, I'm watching like Screen Crushing, and they brought up good points. Said like, they don't think that like she knew that who Luke was. She thought like that maybe this was just like this was a youngling that was under like Obi-Wan's watch or something. Yeah. And she just wanted to like, I mean, I don't know. It was interesting. It was well done. I also like seeing like Uncle Owen and Beru being badass, Beru being really badass. And it's kind of funny though, because it's like, you know, they get their asses taken out by stormtroopers, but hey, who knows? Maybe they put up a fight, you know?
Yeah.
When they got taken down by an army of stormtroopers in New Hope. And
they could have gotten caught off guard. I mean, they might not have known the stormtroopers.
They even did a really good job of like, I guess some in the screenshot they pointed out, Owen falls and hurts his leg.
Yeah.
And in New Hope, the character walks with a limp.
Right. That's funny. Yeah.
So it's like they do a good job of like, that's what I liked about this show, because it's like the stuff with so the Anakin Obi-Wan fight, which we should talk about that being like the best part. Like it starts with now Obi-Wan's back to being Jedi. He's like in full power again.
Yep.
And of course Darth Vader's really powerful.
Right.
But like there's a couple of fun things that they do. Kind of like showing you in the 5th episode too, of like Obi-Wan playing into Anakin's like impulses, like kind of like even you see that in Attack of the Clones when Obi-Wan says like, we'll go and attack Dooku together, and Anakin like just goes right in first.
Yes.
Screwing up if they like work together, maybe they could have taken Dooku down.
Right. But
like Anakin got knocked out real quick, and then Obi-Wan fought him, and then Anakin came in, put up a good fight for a second, but then Dooku just cut off his arm. And it showed that like Anakin paid for that, like by being impulsive.
Yeah.
And you see that in this series. Well, you see the flashback in the last episode with their fight, and like talking about how you're just always looking for the victory. And Obi-Wan's able to kind of overcome Anakin. Mm-hmm. I guess that scene is supposed to take place before the beginning of Attack of the Clones.
Okay, that would make sense.
And that's probably why like Anakin's like more annoyed that he's just this Padawan still.
Right.
But it's like this match was supposed to be like lead to maybe Anakin becoming a Jedi or leading to him becoming a Jedi Master versus just being a Padawan. And because he still had a lot to learn, and Obi-Wan said that, like, you look for victory, and he's able to use that on Vader in the last episode too, when like with the ship and everything. And then again, he kind of does it again to Vader, where like I love the Grand Inquisitor in the scene when they're hunting down the ship, and he's like, "Prepare my ship, I'm gonna go down."
Right.
And he's like, "Are you sure about what he's saying?" It's like really funny.
He's like,
we can literally
crush
take
the
them
rebellion.
out. We can literally end the rebellion right here. Like, this is like the beginning of the rebellion, the ship. We could literally blow them up, and the rebellion's done, and Obi-Wan's done. And the Vader's like, "No, I have a personal vendetta." And he's just like, "Oh God." It's like middle management hell that Inquisitor guy's on. He's just like, boss is an idiot, and he's just like,
it totally is. It's like the corporate owner's kid takes over the company, and like the experienced middle managers have to like deal with whatever the kid says.
Like we can literally, it's like, it makes me think of the Scott Evil scene again in Austin Powers when Dr. Evil comes up with like the stupid ideas, and Scott's like, "I got a gun. We can literally just shoot him right now." Scott, you don't understand. It was like, I love the Grand Inquisitor in that scene. It's like really funny. He's just like, I should be running this shit.
Well, at the very,
I could do Jedi shit. I still think the Inquisitor thing is interesting, but I have an issue with like there being so many Jedi characters. In between the whole like
the notion of Jedi really did get diluted because,
well, by the time you get to New Hope, those Inquisitors are gone. They get wiped out.
Well, and
throughout those years,
during the original 3 movies, the idea of a Jedi was almost, in my head at least, and maybe this was just my impression, it was almost like a Superman type of character where you're like, oh, all you would need is like a handful of Jedi, and that would be like a fighting force the likes of which the universe hasn't seen. But then you get into the prequels and you're like, oh, there's like literally thousands of Jedi, and there's like a weird, between those two extremes is where it gets kind of weird for me, like I don't love that there's,
it is definitely more in the original series, they're definitely more like, wow, what is this? And it's like unusual, more unique. But by the time you get to that point, they did some like creative things, like with Ahsoka, where if you watched like the Rebel series, when she confronts Anakin, she has a fight with Vader, and it's supposed to take place like, this is after his fight with Obi-Wan. It's like 5 years later. Something happens to her, and this is like weird, and I'm wondering if they're gonna gloss over this in the Ahsoka series that's coming out, or if they're gonna fully embrace it. She gets like in this weird like dimension. So she's kind of put in this weird dimension which she ends up jumping a couple of years. It's weird. Like she doesn't, I don't know how to explain it. She like, it was like a way to write her out so Ahsoka's not in the picture during the original trilogy.
Oh, I follow you.
She doesn't show up till after Return of the Jedi.
Right.
Somehow she like comes back. So she was like gone for like a decade or something. And that, which also could explain why like she's not that, she should be like a little older than she is. Again, we don't know how long those tailhead.
Twi'lek. Is she a Twi'lek?
Yeah, she's a Twi'lek.
Yeah, okay,
They have like different versions.
Right.
And we don't know how long but like Rosario Dawson's like maybe in her early 40s, I think. She's around my age, I think, or younger.
That sounds right.
She was in that awful Kids movie. And she was like a teenager when she was in it. Remember Kids?
Oh yeah. Gosh,
that was a horrible movie. I remember seeing that in theater and just being like, I don't like this. Except for the guy, the homeless man on the cart going, he has no legs.
God, I lived out in Oregon when I saw that, and that was like big news.
I did not like that movie. How old was I when it came out?
When did it come out? 92
I
or
felt
something?
weird. I felt weird watching it. Like I didn't like watching it. I think it came out like in the late 90s or something. Or
yeah.
All right. Well, we're not talking about that.
No.
So I know what you mean. And like obviously they want to introduce Jedi's a cool character, so of course they're gonna want to put more in. Like Rogue One did a good job of like there's no Jedi. Like you got like the blind guy with the bow who's worships the Jedi, but there's no Jedi around. And like the only Jedi or Darth is Darth Vader.
Right.
And so there's like, I guess during this time period, there's like force sensitive kids that like they're trying to save.
Yeah. I guess it makes sense. The way
it's a huge galaxy. There's got to be kids or people that have ability. You know, you can only wipe them out so much. But I guess that was the point of the Inquisitors, was that they would literally, after the big hunt in the beginning, they would spend those years trying to find anyone. Like
anyone even remotely force sensitive.
Like the guy who gets killed in the beginning that like with Obi-Wan to get back into the game or whatever. The fight though between Vader and it was so good.
Yeah,
it was so much.
They did a real nice job.
It was better than the Episode 3 fight.
I thought honestly, I can't remember a fight I liked better from anything in the Star Wars stuff. You know, I mean, it was just really, really good.
When he like, okay, so like Darth Vader like buries him.
Yeah.
In the rocks, he just like like it was pretty cool. It was like, okay, obviously we know Obi-Wan's not dead, but like, he was like literally holding it, like he didn't get crushed at all.
Yeah.
But then he just comes out and just goes into God mode and just like pelts the shit out of Vader with rocks too. He's like, I could do that as well. And he, like I said, he goes right for Vader. He knew how to deal with Vader. He knew how to deal with Anakin.
Yep.
If there was anybody out there that knew him better, that could play with his like, what do you call it?
Get in his head. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Obi-Wan. It's just, you know, because even when he buries him, Vader's like, you know, he calls him master. He says that, which is interesting that he would say that, but
he says it kind of sarcastically. But he's master.
Yeah. But and Obi-Wan goes right for the chess piece. And like I said, it just, you know, it'd be kind of funny if like I wish that we would edit like Empire when Luke leaves to go confront Vader and Yoda is like, no, you can't leave yet, dude. You didn't train enough. He's like, my friends, I gotta help. And Obi-Wan's like, oh, listen to Obi-Wan now, dude. You're not gonna listen to me. Listen to the old man, the old ghost. And Obi-Wan's, that's right, stay. And then Luke leaves and like, oh yeah, you aim.
Aim for the chest plate.
Aim for the chest plate. He's literally crippled. If you just fucking shoot him in the chest plate like 2 times, he's done.
Yeah, you just gotta hit the white button on the chest plate.
It's like a video game. Like you're going like a side-scrolling video game. You're going against the boss, and you gotta. There's the literal blinking button. It's like, shoot me here. I'm gonna do things, but then I'm gonna move my arms for a second so you can shoot me here.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But dude, it was sick. And then he fucking whacks Vader in the head.
Yeah.
Cracks open the helmet and like that was sick. And
that was a great scene.
Anakin under it. And it's kind of cool they're talking. And then I think this is good closure for Obi-Wan. It almost takes it's almost like Vader's doing him a favor and saying like to Obi-Wan, like, you didn't kill me. I did. Like you don't have to worry about me, basically. Like that's kind of like, it was actually kind of interesting. It was like Vader was saying, even though he's trying to like make it look like I'm not mad here, even though he can't breathe and cracked my fucking helmet open. But he's like basically like kind of releasing Obi-Wan of guilt by saying like, this is all my doing. Vader, and go ahead, what?
It was weird. Like obviously like you could look at it like, hey, don't be so hard on yourself. I did this. And also it's like kind of like Anakin had so much of his life with things happening to him that it was almost like a fuck you to the world, that he's like, no, I chose this. This is like the first thing in my life I did choose. That was kind of, I couldn't tell whether Anakin meant it in a conciliatory way or in a vengeful way.
It could be looked at, but from Obi-Wan's perspective, it's kind of like basically like, this isn't really your fault. And it really wasn't it's kind of funny. It really wasn't his fault to begin with. He like it, because in the third episode when he confronts him and Vader's like, I'm what you made me or whatever, he says that to him. And then later on, it's like, did he though? I mean, this was really the Emperor that did all this to you.
Yeah.
Like, you are this because of your bad choices and the Emperor manipulating.
Yeah. And honestly, like the problems with Anakin, I think were more Qui-Gon's fault than Obi-Wan's fault. Like, really.
Like
well, like Qui-Gon is the one who like rushed the training, and Qui-Gon's the one that like took him away from his mom without really, I mean, like Qui-Gon's the one who kind of screwed a lot of things up. Obi-Wan just sort of dealt with the shit that Qui-Gon.
And then Qui-Gon gets killed by Maul.
Yeah.
And leaving at Obi-Wan with this like, hey.
Right.
You know that kid I adopted 2 days ago?
Yeah, and like,
he's yours now, buddy.
Obi-Wan did it out of like a sense of obligation to Qui-Gon, but like I don't think Obi-Wan would have chosen to, take on.
He didn't want him there. It was right from the beginning. He's like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah. So I mean, like,
stupid. Go get the fucking part from that little flying bug and let's get the fuck out of here.
I think Obi-Wan is probably more. I mean, I'm sure he feels terrible about Anakin and everything, but Obi-Wan probably feels really terrible that he let Qui-Gon down.
Also, he cared about Padme.
Yeah.
So it was that. And I think he cared about it. He did care about Anakin.
Yeah, I don't think he didn't. I just don't think that Obi-Wan's like the primary person at fault here. I think
but if you're like living in isolation for years and you're like guilty of it, you start feeling guilty, So like I said, this is like a good moment where like, Obi-Wan's back in his full form, he confronts Vader. And it makes more sense now when he's explaining to Luke now. It goes from like him, like, was he just being like, he's more man than machine?
Right.
And it was Vader. I mean, like, he kind of left out the part that Vader was his dad, but he was serious and real when he said Vader killed Anakin.
Oh, yeah.
It came literally out of Vader's mouth.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I didn't even piece that together, but you're right.
In the New Hope, he tells Luke, like, your father was killed by Vader,
right?
And he's more man than machine. He says that to him in Return of the Jedi, I think, when he's on Dagobah, he's talking to the ghost of Obi-Wan and tells him about. When Obi-Wan's like, fine, now that we're in the third movie and we're making this shit up as we go, I'll explain to you all this backstory. But I think like this series does a good job of like explaining things. Like, it like the prequels, for everything that it tried to explain in the original trilogy, it ended up like fucking up a lot of things and having weird inconsistent things. And I feel like this series did a good job of like kind of just like smoothing it all out.
I think so.
Like a really good in between. Kind of like they do a good job of like opening the door of like, maybe they might do another series with Obi-Wan.
I would see another Obi-Wan.
I would, but I'm sorry, but if they do another series with him, Vader can't be in it.
Yeah,
go ahead. What?
That would be what my preference is, that like it doesn't have anything to do with the other characters in Star Wars. Like Obi-Wan goes back on the road.
I mean, it would be kind of, you could have like another scene with Leia, maybe.
That would be fine,
Jimmy Smith's Organa. You could have that.
That would make sense.
If you notice too, in the end of the series, like in the beginning of the series, he's living in that cave and he's kind of like not too far away from Luke and he's spying on them kind of a lot, and Owen's annoyed by it. And you notice in the end, he leaves his cave and he's basically moving now to his home will be where he just, because you see him walking through those caverns or whatever. That's where he saves Luke in the beginning of in New Hope.
A New Hope,
He like saves him from the Tusken Raiders. So he's kind of living there now. So he's keeping an eye, but he's not. He's like Obi-Wan. I mean, Owen and Aunt Beru are doing good job of like keeping protected and if
Yeah.
they need him. I like that Owen's like, "Want to meet the kid?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Hello there." And
that was a great scene.
Yeah, I don't think that's a bad thing that like, oh, he's meeting Luke because like in New Hope, I always felt like they kind of made it that Luke knew who this guy was.
Oh yeah,
that he's run into this guy. Like
he says, like that's crazy Ben or something. Like he does know him. Yeah.
He's that weirdo that gave me that toy.
He doesn't. I don't think he attaches any significance to Ben, but like he knows of Ben.
Yeah, and that might have been the only time he met him.
Yeah.
And I feel like, okay, if you do another series, you can't have Vader in it. I think if he's in it, it takes away from too much from the confrontation in this one. And when he sees him again on the Death Star. Now, it could be kind of funny if like he just has every once in a while he has a fight with Vader and he just punks him and beats the shit out of him. And then I don't know. I mean, part of me is like, okay, obviously he can't kill Vader. And we talked about this before the podcast started. We said like, as great as that scene was, but like he leaves him and he's like, "Goodbye, Darth," instead of Anakin says, "Goodbye, Darth." Like, yeah, you're just a fucking other Darth. Because there were other Darth Maul, Darth Plagueis the Wise, Darth Sidious. So you're just another fucking Darth. You don't mean anything to me. But like, yeah, why didn't you fucking just kill him? Like, end it.
And it would have been so easy
take Anakin out of his misery and just end it.
And it would have been easy to do because all the pieces were there. They could have said like, "Oh, the Star Destroyer sent down a landing party to see what was going on."
And Obi-Wan had to get the fuck out of there, and that's how Anakin. That's how like Obi-Wan's like maybe about to like finish, and then all of a sudden a blaster comes down.
Yeah,
and he has to get the.
Would have made perfect sense.
I think it wouldn't have been this as dramatic if they did that.
No,
you know what I mean, like because it is very emotional scene, and when he leaves him there, and it's kind of like also plays back to how he kind of leaves him in the end of episode 3.
Yeah, it does.
But the difference between the two is in the end of episode 3, he's like broken. He feels sad, you know.
Yeah,
when he leaves Anakin there,
it's a great
But in this, he's more like it's almost like when Vader takes full credit for like killing Anakin and like not and being just straight up evil. Like, you're not saving me here. I am Vader. Like, this is it. Obi-Wan like leaves now with like a clear conscience or something, even though again he could have just killed him. But regardless, it's done very well. Someone brought up a good point. I think it was on Screen Crush too, and I've seen other people bring this up. So one, besides the fact that he cracks the side of his helmet, leaving the scar that you see in Return of the Jedi on his head. In the Rebel series, when Ahsoka fights Vader, she cracks the other side a little bit, and you see Anakin under it, and that's a really great scene. You ever seen that? You gotta see that.
I could have sworn I saw that, but I don't remember the dimensional thing, so I need to go back.
Well, the dimensional thing that was explained like later. Something happens to her, and you're like, did Vader kill her? And you find out no.
Because I did watch a lot of these.
If you watch the series finale, you find out like the main character of that show pulled her into some dimension thing.
Yeah, I don't recall that at all, but I do remember watching a bunch of episodes after they moved to streaming. And
so you saw the fight between Ahsoka and Vader? Okay. Yeah. So some roping said that like she cracked one side, Obi-Wan opened one side, but it was Luke that was able to take the helmet off him, basically bringing him back.
Right.
So they both like kind of cracked it a bit, seeing Anakin under there,
right?
And like, but he's still Vader, you know what I mean? But like, he's not coming back. I think the other cool thing too is if you notice his face when he's talking, and they show him kind of smiling, he almost looks like the Emperor under the helmet.
He does. I like how his voice shifts back and forth between Anakin and Darth Vader too.
Yeah,
that was really cool.
Like that. I think that's like really cool because it's like, yeah, and like I said, what's his face is so good in the show.
Yeah,
I mean, Ewan McGregor, like, you know, he was the best part to those fucking prequel movies.
Yeah,
and he was able to like work with that dialogue. It's kind of funny. So it's okay. So when like the rocks are on him, and he's trying to like free himself, he's thinking all these bad things first.
Right.
And he starts thinking good things. And that's when the force is full power.
Yeah.
Rocks off him. And I want to do like an edit where when he starts thinking of things and like his buddy that owned the diner scratching his ass, like put that in there, put like the that thing he rides around farting on Jar Jar. Like, oh, Porter, like the Watto, even though I don't think he ever met him. Just mix those in there real quick with the other moments. The guy kicking his ass.
Yeah.
So well, I don't know. Do you have anything else? What?
No, nothing much. I mean, it was a great look at a great character, I guess.
I like the Qui-Gon thing in the end.
Yeah.
When he shows up and he's like, I was here the whole time.
Yeah. I like that. And I could see, like, if they were going to do another Obi-Wan, I could see, Qui-Gon telling him, you need to do this one thing to kind of like attain enlightenment or whatever, and then him going on a different journey.
That's what I said. If they do, I don't mind. I don't mind seeing another series, but I feel like you could do something with Mandalore because there's like in the Clone Wars series, he has like this woman that he like meets and like almost falls in love with and said like he would have left the Jedi Order for her. Yeah. And like there's Assassin Adventures, all these other characters they could work with. Maybe he's involved with the early part of the rebellion, but it's like, again, just no Vader. Like,
right. Just shift gears.
What?
Shift gears from that.
Yeah, like I think it would take away from it. But at the same time, also, maybe this is it and we don't need more. Like, I feel like this ends in such a good way. I mean,
oh yeah, I don't think you need any more. I just really like Ian McGregor and I like this character, so I wouldn't mind seeing any more. But the character of Obi-Wan now, I think, has had a complete story from beginning to end.
Like I said, you gotta like just with a grain of salt, like, why didn't Obi-Wan just fucking kill Vader? Yeah. Because he could have totally taken him out right there. Could have ended it. Vader was incapacitated.
Yeah.
As far as we know. Yeah, no, he would have, because if Vader wanted to, he would have killed Obi. If he had the power to do it
easily.
As Obi-Wan was walking away from him, he could have killed him.
Yeah.
I like the and we'll wrap this up in a sec. I do. What do you think of the scene when he's like, they show him back in his office in the his lava castle?
Yeah.
And he's back in his office. I love that. And he's sitting there, and the Empress comes up.
Yeah.
Kind of like that scene was like a little like I didn't want to. I was like, we really need to see the Emperor. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think it was necessary. I mean, I
like the music though in the end when they have the Imperial March or whatever.
That was nice.
They kind of zoom out with him on the top and like his like throne or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was like the way it pans back with so he's full Vader. He's not like going.
He's full Vader, and if you take him at his word, he's done with Obi-Wan. And I mean, like it resolves Vader's story, I suppose.
Well, it's like
necessary, but
clearly, like it's like the same thing as like in A New Hope when like he goes, I sensed something I haven't sensed since or whatever. And it's right. Yeah. So it would be good that he does never sees Obi-Wan again until that moment.
Yeah.
This is like the 6th time we ran into each other in Obi-Wan season 5.
Yeah, no, this is good.
In a water planet, and then we fought on a planet made of Jello.
Right.
Like the Obi-Wan. I mean, I guess the Emperor thing kind of playing with them too. Again, like, oh, you seem conflicted or like worried or something.
Yeah.
Like Obi-Wan doesn't mean anything. I'm just a mean old Darth Vader.
Yeah, it was good. It was fine. I mean, I don't think you needed that scene, but it was fine.
Oh. Yeah, it was well done. I would say this is better than the prequels.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I had a lot of fun with it.
Yeah.
Well, you know what else was a lot of fun, although I have significantly less to say about it, I suppose, was Miss Marvel. I watched that immediately after watching Obi-Wan, and you're right, Obi-Wan was kind of a big emotional thing, and I only
a third. That was the big series finale.
Yeah,
as far or season finale, depending on what they plan on doing.
Yeah, I should have watched Miss Marvel first. Miss Marvel was real fun. That actress who plays Ms. Marvel is really great and really kind of like expressive. The supporting cast was really great and interesting.
Yeah, I like her family a lot.
Mm-hmm.
The dad's funny, the mom's great, the brother's funny. Like I like that one scene when they're so a big part of the episode is his wedding and the brother.
Yeah.
And he's like sitting there and he's like contemplating. He's like, "What's the matter?" His dad comes in. He's like, "What's the matter?" And he tells him like, "I only have like, he's thinking about what he has in his account, kind of like, I'm getting married, and it's like I can't really support start a family." And he's like, I have $740 in my bank account. And I love the dad just says, "Wow, I'm actually shocked you even have that much in your account." Actually, it's really funny.
Yeah.
I guess the brother's supposed to be like a sneakerhead or something.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
like one of those people that will drop like $300 on like a new shoe,
right, on the sneaker app and stuff.
Wait online, fucking outside of like a Nike store for like a day, because they even make a joke saying like when all the family's there, they say something about his sneakers or his shoes or whatever, and he gets like very defensive about it.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a lot. I liked it a lot better than the first 2 episodes because all of a sudden you started to get an idea of the stakes and the universe here.
Yeah, she gets introduced to these characters in the beginning. And again, they're trying to avoid the Inhumans, and they bring in these other characters that I've heard of from Marvel. I never really read these comics. They're called the Clandestines.
Yeah.
She says we're the Clandestines, but you might be known as Jinn. And her face kind of like what? And I guess a Jinn is like a genie, right?
Yeah,
but they're like evil, right? Aren't Jinns supposed to be like evil?
Yes, it's like DJINN
Jinn or something.
Yeah, and I always kind of they're Middle Eastern folk tale legends, monsters, like a boogeyman of that type. And they do things like they can grant wishes, but they're more like tricksters, and they can be terrible.
I want all the chocolate in the world.
Yes.
And they like do something to you, and you're like, all of a sudden your body's covered like made of chocolate.
Right. You're like literally like underneath all the chocolate. Or like
make sure you use your words wisely.
Yeah. So this like affects her greatly, and almost to the point where I'm like, did they mention this earlier? I don't remember them mentioning it earlier, but like the audience, it seemed like the audience was supposed to be like, oh, Jinn, like I know just what that is. Because they didn't do a great job of explaining it like in the moment. But then you start to see her use her powers like with a lot more confidence and more like offensively rather than just defensively. So there's a lot to like in this episode. It just ends with kind of like a little bit of ambiguity, like where's it going to go next?
Well, the grandmother's like, get down here to what country?
Karachi. I don't remember where
Karachi.
Karachi is
country, but you gotta be careful how you pronounce it because it just sounds like you're saying Karachi.
Oh yeah, I think it's Karachi. It's a big city in Pakistan.
That's right.
Yeah. So she is, and then they do talk about like in this episode, they talk about the partition when India and Pakistan were kind of separated.
But like these characters are so it begins with a flashback in the early 40s or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's I guess her great grandmother and that woman that we see in the end of the second episode, and some other people, and they're talking, and they find this like blue arm under like the rocks or whatever.
Rubble, yeah.
That's a Kree.
It has to be, right?
Yeah, because again, they're tying in her powers with Captain Marvel because Kree are heavily involved with Captain Marvel. So the Kree are going to play into this character. And again, and I talked about this in the previous episode, if they mention the Inhumans or not, the Inhumans are tied to the Kree as well. They're like the Inhumans are basically like an accident created by the Kree.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Like they're like almost like a science experiment or something went wrong. I forgot, but because it's like it happened so long ago, and it almost becomes like this almost mystical thing instead. So you know what I mean? Instead of like there's like this thing called the Terrigen Mist, and I think they're avoiding that and they're focusing on something else. Now I don't know how they're going to play with the whole clandestine, but they're saying that like they're not from this dimension. they're from another dimension.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they need her. They need her
to return to their dimension.
Right, but like, isn't there like a price she's gonna have to pay to do that or something? Like,
well, I think they explained it when her friend Bruno is like, look, there's a way you can do this theoretically, but it requires like the power of a sun and things could go terrible. And I don't think they said it explicitly, but my impression was that she is supposed to be that energy source. Like,
so she could probably get killed.
Right. That if you generate enough power via your bracelet or yourself, that you could maybe open the door and get them back to where they want to go. But the world may be destroyed in the process. You may blow up in the process. That's kind of where I thought it was going.
I kind of like the whole like making fun of Twilight a little bit. She's talking to them in the beginning. They're all talking about how they're like over like 100 years old.
Right.
And then they made sure to point out the guy, though.
Yeah, he's only 17.
No, he's like, no, I'm 17. Like, not like I'm 100 and I look 17.
Right.
He's like, oh, what a relief.
Yeah.
Like, it's actually really funny because it's like Kristen Stewart's character in Twilight, Robert Pattinson's character. Yeah, I guess he looks like a young man.
But he's like 150.
Yeah, and it's like, ew. That's why I remember watching the first movie and I was like, it's not very good.
Yeah.
I'll check out the second one. Like, it's like I don't like it. And I remember putting on the second one and like it began and they were like all in high school.
Yeah.
I'm like, why is this so dumb? And I had to stop watching it. Like, why is he in high school? He doesn't look that young. Like, I remember like the leader of the group was like, we have to put on like a facade. So
yeah. But like, does that mean he has to go to high school forever? Like, see,
but like, why does he have to go to high school? Like, he could totally pass for like a college, like a postgraduate.
Or you just say like, hey, we're
all of them good. The girls,
we're homeschooling. We're homeschooling.
Yeah, that too. Like, I couldn't handle it. I was like, I'm not watching this. I never watched one after that. I was like, this is fucking stupid. He's like passing notes to her.
Right.
You're like 100 fucking years old. This is gross.
This is
I think it's kind of funny.
90th year he's taken algebra 3.
Yeah. super senior. I like that I felt like that was almost like a dig on Twilight right there.
Yeah, I think
like,
you're right.
Yeah, she was like, oh, thank God. Like, that's disgusting. Like, if you were like 100. Yeah, I don't know. It was good. Is it weird to me that, like, when I was watching the wedding scene, they showed the dancing?
Yeah.
That the thing that came to my mind was the Mamushka from the Addams Family movie.
Oh,
yeah.
It got like
when the whole family's dancing and they're like,
yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I chalked that up to like this. The one thing I do like about the show, even though I don't always love how it works, is that it's pretty interesting visually. Like you had said previously, there's like, graphics and little animations here and there.
I like how her powers are like when she punches the guy and her fist grows, it's starting to resemble more like the way she is in the comic.
Yeah. There's like some real cool things like that. And the dancing scene almost got like a little Bollywood for me briefly. Yeah. And I was like, this is fun.
A little corny, but it was fun.
Yeah.
That's what I said. It made me think of like.
Yeah. The Addams Family scene. Yeah. I can see
like a little too much, but it was cool.
But I do like that about that, even though I don't, like I said, I don't think it always works, but I like that they try it. And
again, like this show looks good. Like
it does.
It's not a cheap looking show at all. The production is like, that's a big production. I mean, that's a ton of extras right there. That party scene, that's like fucking movie budget right there.
Yeah.
They're not like trying to shoot like a dance and there's like 15 extras. That's what I said. Like, it looks like the Marvel budget is bigger than the Star Wars budget.
I can see that. Yeah.
I feel like the MCU budget is probably bigger than Star Wars is. And I bet people don't want to admit that, but
I'll bet you're right though.
Yeah, because so there's the big party, and then those guys, the clandestine people show up and they're starting shit. I'm trying to think what happened. Oh, I guess they finally, like, she explains to her friend.
And her friend's all pissed off.
Yeah, of course, but I'm sure she'll get over it.
Yeah. I don't know. It's good. There, not a ton happened. She was kind of rescued by that government agency at the end.
You talking about what are they called again? Damage control.
Yeah. Yeah.
Damage Control. It's kind of cool that Damage Control is in this. Damage Control was a comic that came out in the 80s, and it's always been this like group. They're basically like, yeah, they show up after like a
They're
big
like a Men in
disaster.
Black.
But yeah, they're there to like, so like remember in the beginning of Amazing Spider-Man Homecoming, the beginning scene takes place right after the attack on New York City.
Yep.
In the first Avengers movie. And they go after like what's his face, Michael Keaton. They're like, no, we're taking over, you know. And he's like, I had all these trucks. They're like, yeah, so it doesn't matter. Get out of here.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do like the whole how they play on the whole kind of like what Muslim groups have to go through when it comes to like so when the woman from Damage Control shows up and like talking to them and like he's trying to get out of it, and the girl comes in and just like full out like, oh, we're supposed to like Muslim people are supposed to rat out their own or something. Like we're supposed to be we're always have to be the ones that prove we're not terrorists or something. Like a white domestic terrorist attack could happen, and me and you won't have to explain. We won't have to explain ourselves.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Right.
We get to just go on about our day. But if like there's any kind of incident that involves a brown person or any kind of minority,
everyone has to defend.
They have to police their own. They have to. So I like that they kind of touched on that in a way, like some real world. Like I think the show is doing a really good job of like being respectful and like
seems it
and like showing like. I mean, again, I'm speaking of this from a total outsider. I don't know this culture. But I feel like they're doing a good job.
I think so. I mean, again, I'm an outsider. I don't know much about it. I know that they are. I like that they are both being like obviously respectful of this different culture or religion, but they're also kind of like holding it up to the light a little bit by saying like, hey, you know, there's it's not all roses for women, you know, in this, you know.
Like
I think that
back of the
they have to sit in a separate location and everything. And it's real surprising that a young woman would run for council and stuff. So I kind of really appreciated that because
I like to. Yeah, go ahead. What?
I'm just off like I want. It feels kind of contradictory. Like I want society and culture to be like embracing of all these different cultures, and which includes religions and everything. But often, like other religions are just as like crazy as homegrown Western Christian religions. You know, I think everyone should be. I don't know. It's. I like the even-handed look.
I like when they talk to the girl, her friend, in the second episode, and she's talking about like how, like she could. You know, why she wears the sari and everything. It's like in Muslim, she's almost like not that she's shunned, but like she's very light skinned.
Right.
And she's like, well, I'm not like white enough. Like I could pass, wink, wink. Right. Like, it's like a bad, but she does say that. Like, but you know, she's like in this, like, I don't know how to explain it. Watch the episode. She does a good job of explaining her situation and like why she chooses to wear the sari. Because Kamala doesn't.
Right.
And but is she like when she shows up, she's religious, but I don't feel like she's that religious.
I think she's like culturally religious, like how a lot of people in the United States, they'll go to church on Christmas and Easter and they'll identify as Christian. She's
doing it because of her family.
Yeah, but it's not like particularly meaningful. You get the impression that like when she gets older, she might drift away from the faith, you know, or I don't know.
Oh, whatever. I think it's a really good show. Again, it's entertaining. I like all the characters. All the side characters are great. It's kind of slow. You said there's only 6 episodes.
Yeah, that's what Wikipedia said. So, yeah.
I feel like a lot's gonna have to happen in the next episode.
Well, like we've said, the last couple shows we've watched, it seems like episodes 5 and 6 are the real. There
is a pattern on these, like and it's funny, like even with Obi-Wan, it's like the joke is like the characters don't become the character till the end. It's like Obi-Wan goes through these transition throughout all 6 episodes. Then in the end, he's back to full power. But the series is over, you know. It's like WandaVision, you know. She's in the end of the show. She's now finally in her like Scarlet Witch outfit, and she's like fully evolved. It's like, well, so you know, people were complaining about this show, like the fans were complaining because they didn't like the power change or something. Well, from what it looks like, because they keep showing, especially in the artwork, and they show stuff straight from the comics, they show her power where that's her body is doing those contortions.
Not the amulet or the bracelet.
Well, they said that they kind of established in the last episode that the amulet she wears, she's not getting her power from that. That power like woke her up or something.
Right.
Like they basically use that as the stand-in for the Terrigen Mist that turns her into an Inhuman, but she's not. Again, we don't know if she's an Inhuman. I don't know what they're calling her. So they're kind of using the amulet as the thing that triggers the powers within her. So yeah, in the end, she might just do that gross thing where her hands get really big. Like she's like a weird Miss Fantastic character kind of. I have one other thing to say about the show. So I saw a lot of people like pointing out like, oh, this show is not getting the ratings that the other shows got, and
like, I've seen that.
I'm like, okay, a couple of things. One, all right, so Moon Knight, like I know what Moon Knight is, kind of a big comic dork, but like I feel like if Moon Knight did better, it's possible Moon Knight did better because Oscar Isaac is a much is it like there's no real. I'm trying to think. Is there any stars at all in this Miss Marvel? I mean, there's some people I've seen in other shows, like the woman who's playing like the lead villain.
Yeah, but I'd say no stars.
But I've seen her in other stuff, but she's not a star. No. You know, like I think some of them are stars, like actually in Bollywood or something.
Sure, like that. That would make sense. But
I like the whole. Oh, so what's the deal with I like the whole thing with the aunties, like. They're not actually ants or something. Like that's not her actual, like not by blood.
Right.
Something to do with their culture or whatever.
I got the impression, like I know sometimes in my limited experience of being around like Latino culture when I worked in Florida is that there'd be a million like tia and tios, which is like Spanish for aunt and uncle. And only occasionally would they be related by blood. It'd be like if your mom had a best friend from high school and they were still best friends and your mom had you and then now you're a teenager, your mom's friend would be your aunt.
Yeah, I knew that. You know? Like one of my friends back home, for years he talks about his cousins. And then and then I found out years later, I'm like, they're not even related. No. It's just like the guy was like best friends with his dad or something.
Neighborhood kids. Yeah. There is like it's more than like you wouldn't just call every older woman you meet your aunt, but like there is some weird dynamic to it.
Okay, so back to the ratings thing, like I don't know, some people like they feel like Disney like screwed the show. They're like, oh look, they put it out like when Obi-Wan's out. They put Doctor Strange just came out today. Thor's coming out in a couple weeks, and I'm like, you know, I mean, Disney Plus has to release more content. I mean, like Netflix puts out a ton of shit. They put out things at the same time. I believe that this show is going to have good word of mouth. It seems to be getting good word of mouth. I haven't seen anyone outright hate the show.
No, I mean, there's like some, aside from the chud commentaries.
Oh, fuck those people. Like,
but no one is. I will say, and I haven't seen this criticism often. It is a younger show.
It's younger, but it doesn't feel. Again, I don't feel like I'm watching.
Right. Like, I wouldn't feel self-conscious.
Dumbass. Yeah.
I wouldn't feel self-conscious if someone came in and I was watching.
I'll give you an example. CW put out a show called Naomi, which was like a new character from DC, and they made a show. And I tried watching that, and I hated it because it felt like a kid's, like not a kid's show, but it felt like I was watching more like Riverdale and not The Flash. Yeah. So I was like, this is show ain't for me. But this show, I watch it, and I don't feel like I'm being like there's enough characters, there's enough adults, there's enough like balance that like it doesn't feel like, and they don't feel like they're pandering to kids. I don't know how to say it. Like, it doesn't feel dumb.
No, it feels it doesn't feel dumb, and it feels like it doesn't think you're dumb either.
It
You know what I
fits
mean?
into
Like,
it fits perfectly into the MCU.
yeah.
And I just think, yeah, like you said, there's really no star power. It's a newer character.
Yep.
It's a 14, which I guess she's like, what, 15, 16?
Something like that, yeah.
15, 16-year-old girl is the lead. So those are like things that like might take some convincing for people to be like, I'm gonna have to, I don't know, is it really good for I sit down and watch this? Also, it's weird because like, this is a streaming show. It's not like, oh, the ratings for this were bad. Like, well, come back like, well, go ahead. What?
The other thing too is some people may be waiting until all episodes are available. Some people don't like to watch week by week. So
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I don't think it's a cause for alarm. I also don't think it's like the bullshit that like the right always tries to do, like the whole go woke, go broke. I don't think this show's woke. I mean, like,
no,
just the term woke is, I can't stand it. It's like, just say you're a fucking racist and get it over with.
Right.
Like, just like what? If a black person's in it, the show's woke. Like, that's insane.
That's basically it. Yeah.
That's like super racist. Like, there's no the existence of a brown person in a show, or a gay person, or whatever, or the lead is a woman. Like, if your outright response is just like, it's woke,
yeah, then you're a problem.
That says more about you. Like, I don't know. I don't think I believe that this show will pick up as it goes on. Like, because if it's good, it's good, and it's been good so far, more people are going to want to watch it.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it'll pick up. I'm liking it a whole lot.
All these jackasses on like YouTube and all stuff, they're going to put out those videos anyway that say like, failure, disaster.
Yeah.
Like, there's nothing to back it. There's no fucking proof. Whatever. They're gonna do it anyway. You know, like, they're gonna say like, Obi-Wan was a disaster. Yeah. They went woke by having a little girl in it. That little girl is the main character from the original trilogy. Shut up.
Yeah.
You're woke. And now you go broke. They had this like field day. I think this is a good transition. So yes, I'm looking forward to the next episode. I do like the series.
Yeah.
Is it my favorite series?
Yeah.
I would say the reason why it's not is just because like, I don't really care from like, I have no emotional investment in that character when it comes to like comics. I never really read it. Like, if they made a Wolverine TV show, Miss Marvel, and they said you had to pick one, I'm probably gonna watch the Wolverine show.
Oh yeah.
Over Miss Marvel. Sorry, it's not nothing against. It's just, guy's got claws, man. He's hairy like me. I'm hairy. I could see myself being Wolverine.
I think this is a good transition, because you were talking about like this wokeness and everything, and we've seen that a couple times lately. There's people talking about Lightyear. And,
so Lightyear came out and it did okay. I've heard, I've seen some people say like the movie's awesome. I haven't like read up about it or even looked at any of the reviews, but the right wing was like, Ben Shapiro, all these right wingers were going nuts, like, because I guess the main character in it, it's revealed that like she has a wife,
right,
and kids. So gay marriage, bad, of course, and family. Oh my god! And there's a scene where like they kiss for like a half second. And they went nuts. They were like boycotting the movie. You can't force this on my kids. You can't, like, it's ridiculous. It's like, what? This is so stupid. And one of the guys I found on Twitter, Matt Bender, posted, he's like, okay, here's the scene that the right wing completely lost their mind over. And it's like Lightyear and this woman walking into a room, and you find out it's like a surprise party for someone. And the woman comes up to her, who's clearly her wife or whatever, kisses her real quick, and they go and enjoy the party. It's that long of a scene.
Yeah.
If you're worried that, worried about that, that's something really wrong with you.
I'll tell you, I looked it up. People were projecting that Lightyear would pull in $70 million over the weekend, and Lightyear only pulled in 50 million, and which they described as kind of like mildly disappointing.
I will say though that the last Toy Story movie didn't do that great. You
Right.
could look up Toy Story 4. It was not received as well. And that people like felt like it was like the third movie ended on such a great note.
Right.
And the fourth one was like came out years late, like 10 years later. And it was just like this kind of like odd story. And it ended up not pulling in the numbers. And that came out like 3 years ago, I think.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah. And I think also again, people are just like kind of just confused about this movie. They're like, some people are like, "Where's Tim Allen?" Like, who gives a fuck about Tim Allen? Who gives a shit? No one under 50 gives a fuck about Tim Allen. No one. Like, that guy sucks. Did you see that thing where he was like,
yeah,
he put out this tweet where he was like, I took some kids to Disney, and I saw this one kid talking about how they're like pansexual or something.
Right.
And I'm like, old creep stalks preteens at amusement park.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
But like, I don't think people didn't see Lightyear because Tim Allen didn't do the voice. Like Chris Evans, Captain America. Like,
right.
I think it's more like people just really Jurassic Park came out, Top Gun came out. I guess Top Gun's supposedly really good.
So my kids saw it, loved it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Top Gun.
Like
and
what?
And this is not the kind of movie I would imagine she would like. She just said it's really fun. So
yeah, I've heard a lot of people, like even like people who I follow on Twitter were like anti-war, like military industrial. They love this movie, even though they said this was straight up propaganda film for military.
Right.
But they said it's really good. I'll catch it one day. But I feel like we're back to a mode now that we haven't been since a couple of years ago before the pandemic, where there's actually like maybe some competition in the theater. You know, for a while now, you'd have these like isolated movies where like more people are going back to the movies. And with that means there's going to be more competition with the movies. They're going to start releasing movies where the release, instead of like one big movie coming out like every couple weeks, instead there might be like 3 out at the same time.
Yeah.
But I think the reality is that I think people don't know what the fuck this movie is. They're confused by it. They're like, wait, so this isn't the toy. This is the the guy. This is like a movie within that universe. Like,
it's confusing. I think there's a lot of competition. I don't know how much. Yeah,
my son. I asked my son, "Do you want to see it?" And he didn't. He's like, "No, he wasn't interested in it." He's like, "No, he wants to see Thor." You know that he wanted to see that one about, what was it? What's the one? I told you it was the one about dimensions and everything.
Oh, Everything All at Once.
Yeah, he loved that movie. I mean, that movie, I would say that movie is not like a straight up action flick. It was like very like mature, like
thinky.
Yeah, a little bit more, and he loved that movie. So but like Lightyear, no, not interested. Maybe like 3 years ago he probably would have wanted to see it. So I don't know. But I don't think the reason why people didn't go see it was because Ben Shapiro put out a video crying about the gay kiss scene.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, you didn't see the movies because of that, then you're an idiot, because that's just stupid.
It's just crazy how even during like the Bush years and the Reagan years, they would still go out of their way to say something like, we love these people. We just think that that if they marry, they would like couch it in those terms. But it's not even couched in those terms anymore. A lot of the MAGA rhetoric is like, these people are actively trying to rape children, which is just like real aggressive, obviously, and bizarre. And like, it's such a big difference. I saw, I've been watching the new Star Trek series, which I love, Strange New Worlds.
Yeah, I'm going to get Paramount Plus this week, so I'll probably start watching that.
Oh, it's great. I don't want to oversell it because it's just a really good show, but like, it's a really good show, and that's great. So there was an actor in the most recent episode that apparently is a trans actor. And afterwards, I was kind of flipping through Twitter, reading the feedback on the show, and a lot of people were real griping about the trans actor and everything.
Who the fuck cares?
Yeah, it was just such bizarre bullshit, like
fuck those people. Like, you're just a fun. They feel like, we talked about this before the podcast, and bringing up like, during when Trump ran in 2016, and it was only a couple years after gay marriage became like legal federally across the country. The Republicans had to do this like little dance, and Trump put out, like, he held the pride flag, and I think he said, like, during his State of the Union or whatever, like, hey guys, we need to like ease up on the LGBT.
Yeah.
But then, like, that was bullshit, because like a month into his presidency, they put in a trans ban.
Well, and he appointed all these anti-trans, anti-gay they all got cabinet positions.
If he believed that, then it just shows that he was never in charge of his fucking presidency.
Yeah.
And he would just do whatever he had to do to stay in power. He probably himself has no issue with gay people. Who knows?
Yeah,
he was around enough in the party scene in the 80s to probably not give a fuck.
I don't think he cares, but like, I
don't think he gives a shit at all. He just wants power, and he wants to protect. He wants that power to protect his wealth and protect him from the law. So he'll go along with anything. But he did try to use that to sound less bigoted when he ran, and it didn't matter, because the proof actions speak louder than words. That's when like they started again a lot with more trans people. Go after them first, and because it was like an easy target. People don't really know what it is. They're confused by it. They don't get it. They're like, wait, that's weird. Or they use the classic, like, they bring up the sports thing. And say, like, look here, this person's trying to, infiltrate.
I'll tell you, it's amazing how many on the right got super emotionally involved in like NCAA women's lacrosse.
Or swimming.
Yeah, like, wow, I didn't realize that like the sanctity of the swimming rankings was such a huge fundamental part of who you are.
And these are the same people that are like applauding, like putting bounties on women for having an abortion. Like, so I don't know if you're really on the side of women here. I think you're just using women to be bigots against trans people and attacking them. And they use the whole, again, it's they use this target, and they take it back, like, they're all women, but they, what I'm saying, like, they use this to like attack people basically, and then they use the whole pronoun thing. I mean, it's like the most, remember like when Russia invaded like Ukraine in the beginning, and they were like, well, we don't have a they them army here or something, and it was the most bizarre thing. I'm like, why are you even saying this? Like,
it's bizarre how like the Texas GOP rewrote its platform, I guess, over the last week. One of their two of the 8 items on their platform have to do with like getting gay and lesbian books out of school libraries, and like
that's what's important,
protecting kids from gay predators or something. I mean, it's just like real bizarre.
There was some like Proud Boys, like they were like attacking what do you call it?
The Pride Parade.
The Pride Parade, that big arrest. Actually, real quick though, it's kind of funny. Yeah, they're trying to create this whole thing with groomers and putting in these laws, but at the same time, some of these states are putting in laws that are validating older men marrying girls under 16.
Yeah,
that's weird.
It's crazy.
Like, would you say that's grooming?
Yeah.
I mean, that's beyond grooming. That's just like,
well, yeah,
it's super fucked up. That's what it is. But so like they're one of the big things they attack, or they like to go after and target. And I've seen them talk about it. I've seen clips of Rogan. This fucker's talking about it. Is this drag queen story time?
Yeah.
Or like a drag queen or whatever you call it, like
read stories
at the library. And of course, some people are like, yeah, that's totally cool. I like RuPaul Drag Race. Mm-hmm. That's fun. My kid's gonna enjoy it. And then you get these other psychopaths are like, this is horrible. This is the worst thing ever. And it's like the person's literally wearing, I mean, you can look at it if you want to really break it down and be like, that person's literally wearing a costume and playing a character.
Yeah. Like, it's real bizarre.
But like Proud Boys and like all these scumbags are showing up and basically trying to bully basically making it that the person can't do the story time.
Yeah.
And it's like, isn't that more hurtful to the kids?
Yeah, the right wing is kind of like devolved into like armed militias that are like terrorizing people.
This is like pre-Nazi shit.
Yeah, it really is. I don't know.
There was this one picture, it was one Proud Boy and whatever, and it was like, I tweeted the picture. I said like, he was wearing a shirt saying like, pedophiles get killed or something, or kill pedophile, and it's like as an AR-15 on his shirt. And I'm like, why is he wearing a shirt telling people to kill him?
Yeah.
A lot of these people are usually pretty gross. Like, it's been revealed that like half the heads of like QAnon are all like fucking fiends in like so many different ways. Like, how many times did we find out like they're like, especially in the past year, you find out like the head of this person at QAnon is like literally a pedophile.
Yeah, and it's always like the church elders are like all pedophiles, and it's pretty predictable.
But it's like ridiculous. So they're going after, they're really, especially with Pride Month, they were like trying to target people. The big one recently, I think it was in Iowa. Or what state was it in? Where the
Idaho, I believe. Yeah.
So one guy, I saw this today because I posted it. Let me see if I can find it. This is great. These people are such morons. So basically, a bunch of chuds, Patriot Front chuds, were driven in a U-Haul truck.
Right.
And a lot of these dudes were not from there. They traveled.
Oh, there's like 7 or 8 of them from Texas. Yeah.
Yeah. I'll read the one. This one's from Colorado, and not far from me. Wheat Ridge isn't far. And some good antique stores there. Maybe this guy.
I'll bet you a lot of World War II memorabilia.
No, not that kind. I know what you're talking about. No, I've seen. Yeah, you go to antique stores. My God, the worst thing I ever saw in my life was there's this antique store in Paradise, California. When we went to Paradise, which is like a neighboring town, and we were like looking in the antique store, and I've never seen more racist shit in my life.
Oh yeah.
So there, I was like, oh my God, and this is California, like, okay, here we go. Colorado Springs anti-fascist. This is a group. New Patriot Front member Forrest Rankin of Wheat Ridge, Colorado, was fired from his position at an engineering firm after his arrest at the Coeur d'Alene, Idaho Pride event. So he was one of the morons that got his mask taken off. So these idiots are all wearing masks. They look like the fucking cavalry from the Watchmen show.
Yeah, 100%.
And they all got arrested, and it's great because these fuckers' masks come off, and then what do you do? What's that guy's name?
Dinesh.
Is that
the
guy on TikTok and stuff?
He's great.
He does like, he finds people. Same thing with that other guy too. What's that?
Well, there's Tizzy and
that's him. Yeah, he's another one.
Yep. And then there's a pharmacist who does some good stuff.
And they're good at just like getting shit to go viral and getting. These clowns never fucking learn. They never learn. All these idiots that went to Charlottesville, all these jackasses, these fucking Nazi fucks, they went there, and half of them, like any of those people got exposed, they lost their fucking jobs.
Yeah.
It's like these people don't fucking learn.
Yeah. And a lot of them like lose their jobs and their friends. And it's like, well, I mean,
try not being an evil piece of shit.
Right.
Maybe I don't want to be friends with a Nazi. I don't know. I'm sorry. It's like I said, there was that thing the other day, someone like conservative complaining about how women don't want to date them. And it's like,
right.
Can you blame them? Why would they date you? Especially if they don't agree with you politically. Now, I mean, if they have shitty politics, that's a different story. But
I follow a lot, and this we're kind of bleeding into the January 6th stuff, not the hearings, but the trials, I suppose. A lot of the people who were arrested for January 6th get up in front of court, and they just like complain about how their lives have been ruined by their own actions.
There's some woman that was, I saw this video earlier on Twitter, and she's like running for something in Florida. And she's complaining about like how her family's business, she has like her family's business, like a spice company or something or whatever. Okay. And people are like been boycotting it. She feels persecuted because she went to January 6th. And it's like, I don't know, maybe they don't want to buy your product anymore because you were part of the biggest domestic, probably one of the, I mean, not like what's his face from Oklahoma City,
Right.
like that, but
yeah.
awesome. I don't know what you would call this. I mean, a terrorist attack on the nation's capital. I mean, dude, these people brought in Confederate flags.
There's so much to it. I
like
mean,
over 100 years later, after the Civil War, that Confederate flag was never in the White House, never in the state capitol, ever.
Well,
and they fucking brought it in there. A bunch of them brought them in there. These fucking people.
They're just animals. They're like pissing on the floors and rummaging through desks
shit on the walls.
Yeah, I mean, these are. I think.
And for what? For what? What was the reason?
Yeah, well, I mean, ostensibly Trump wanted
That's it.
To.
Yeah,
you know,
there was like no real agreement. It's not like, oh, we want like healthcare, we want a better environment,
right? Or you took away our right to choose, or you know, like
yeah, like this wasn't for like anyone's benefit except to like help keep Trump in power for life. Yeah. Like, it's insane.
It's real bizarre.
So, before we get deep into the January 6th thing, I just want to go back to the culture war shit that they're trying to do, because it's all kind of part of the thing. So, like, you know, we talked about Lightyear, talked about Star Trek, talk about they're even trying to sneak that in with Miss Marvel. Like, look, the ratings aren't good because no one wants to watch a show with Muslims. That's what they're trying. That's really what they're trying.
That's what they're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And they do this all the time. They do this dance whenever, like I remember, like, there was a photo that Joe, like Chris Pratt with this woman who happened to be black, who was one of the new characters in Jurassic Park. And the guy's like, oh, looks like Jurassic Park's woke now. And it's like, what? And this one person just like, why don't you just say you're a fucking racist and get it over with? Just get it over with.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. It's like it just shows you how fucking our culture is starting to degrade. When Jurassic Park 2 came out, it was revealed or something that like Jeff Goldblum's character had a daughter, and she was black. And you know what? No one gave a shit.
Yeah.
But now, if they did that now, oh my God, they would be like Ben Shapiro would be like, oh my God, you know, like whatever.
Well, that's it. It's driven by like a half dozen people on the right-wing media circuit. You know, a lot of this outrage is driven by a small number of people.
Yeah, it spreads like wildfire, like cancer, like on Facebook, on memes, and all this shit.
Well, I think that's the real problem with it, is that like it manufactures a problem, because there's probably a group of Republicans that by and large started out as just normal crappy people, and then through like Tucker Carlson or Ben Shapiro or whatever, they get the message out to like the hardcore trolls, and then it becomes part of like internet culture, and the next thing you know, like a relatively normal person has become a horrible bigot.
They're looking at memes that started out like in 4chan and 8chan or Ikun, whatever the fuck they call that thing now, and like these real horrible, vile places where literal Nazis. And these memes start there, and they get and they make change, get a little bit. They may become a little less.
They'll sanitize them.
Anti-Semitic looking, but the message ends up being exactly the same.
Yeah. Well.
So yeah, you know, which then leads to people losing their mind and going to the Capitol and smearing shit on the walls.
Well, from what I understand, the January 6th hearings that are going on currently, have been really effective, and they've actually believe they've seen Republicans start to change their mind to the point where now like 60% of the population thinks Trump should be charged with something.
Well,
I know, but like,
if there's no charges at all, then this thing's for nothing. That's the reality. There has to be something.
Yeah, if there's no charges, then like I don't know what the point of anything is. Then it's not really about like a democracy anymore. It's like who can maneuver and avoid consequences.
If these people were able to get out of power or whatever, or losing an election and trying to fuck with it and everything like that, imagine how they would be if they got in power again.
Yeah.
After getting away with this.
Right.
That's
10
scary.
times emboldened, you know?
Yeah.
So
they'd be like they could get away with anything. I mean, fuck, look at. Okay, so today there was a thing that came out about Andrew Gillum. Like,
Yeah.
I guess he's facing like charges or something, right?
Yeah.
But like Bobert, like fucking did some shady shit.
Well, I'll tell the one thing I will say, and is that Gillum is facing charges that stem from an investigation that happened like 4 years ago or something. The charges here really are more related to his time as mayor of Tallahassee, and also the early days on his campaign. So Bobert could still get charged next year or
former
so.
daytime hooker Bobert.
Yeah, former daytime hooker Bobert could get charged next year, and it would be comparable to the experience Gillum had. Because it takes a little
these
while.
Things take time. I'm just pointing out though, like, man, if I was her, she's an idiot. So who the fuck knows? But these people, like, they think they do it with anything because half the time they do.
Well, they do. That's it. And I don't know. These hearings have been great. They're well done.
The one woman today or the other day, I didn't watch it. These people were talking about this Ruby Rose, or
this one, not Ruby Rose, Batwoman herself was up.
Batwoman from the CW.
No, I guess it was a mom and a daughter, and the mom's name was like Miss Ruby or something. I forget her name, but and the girl's name I think was Shay. I don't know. I may be wrong. Anyway, they're just these normal people, and they were working the polls, and there's film of them working the polls. And I guess at one point the daughter handed the mom something. They said it was a mint, but it doesn't even, they were just doing that. Anyway, Giuliani goes on TV and says that these two women by name were committing election fraud. And then Trump repeated it. And I guess like the FBI told them they needed to like leave their house for 2 months because there were so many people were like literally walking in their house with guns saying they're there to make a citizen's arrest and stuff.
I'm listening. Keep going.
It was really, really terrifying. Like, it was really, really bad. And these are just like normal, everyday people. These are the people that you need to help run elections and work the polls and stuff like that. And Trump was like attacking these two women by name and unleashing a huge internet army.
That alone should be enough to put someone in prison.
Yeah, honestly, it really should. I mean,
they said that the Georgia stuff can actually lead to Trump going to jail.
Yeah, I think that's much more
in a perfect world. Georgia alone, just him outright trying to calling the guy who was like the head of it, and trying to like tell him, basically forcing him, saying like, you better find like 10,000 votes or something.
Yeah. Well, the problem with that is that the Georgia governor can pardon anyone convicted of Georgia crimes.
Go ahead, do it.
Yeah.
But let get it arrested and then have Brian fucking Kemp in an election year.
Yeah, pardon him.
In a state that's shifting blue.
Yeah.
Go ahead and fucking pardon Trump.
Well,
I don't know. They come out and vote. They'll fucking come out of the woodworks for that.
The hearings, I think, have been really effective at detailing a lot of evidence. I guess there's going to be another one tomorrow where they're going to talk to some Department of Justice people and some states' attorneys. And
they're like, dude, they need to like talk to Kanye.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Supposedly, well, he had a fake candidacy.
Yep.
Where he was literally working for Trump.
Yeah.
His kids
trying to siphon off like a black vote.
Yeah,
that was specifically what he was trying to do
in like certain states, so that Biden would lose in any way possible. And Kanye literally was just running. It didn't work because Kanye is an asshole.
Yeah.
And people were like, you're a joke. Like, why would I vote for you?
And his campaign didn't even get him like on the ballot in a lot of states. And he was just kind of a joke.
That guy's an asshole. Like, he's just an egomaniac asshole. I'm so sick of him. Anyone that still listens to him, like, you gotta like, I'm sorry. There's a point where you have to just
cut him loose.
Yeah, like there's other artists out there that aren't, working in tandem with a fascist.
Yeah.
For whatever fucking reason Kanye is doing it. Who knows? Because he's a psychopath.
Yeah, I don't think he really needs a reason. I think anyone could have talked him into doing that. So
let's just say this, that he's over the years has become a billionaire, and it has nothing to do with the music.
Yeah. He sells those sandals for like $200 a piece. So just
there's like some other shit. He started getting involved with like churches or something. I don't know. This is a weird shit. Did you notice though, ever since Pete Davidson started dating Kim Kardashian, she's no longer a black woman?
Jeez, I have not.
I'm not fucking kidding. She used to like she had her stylist like paint her to bronze her and stuff. But now there's all these images of her with Pete Davidson. She's white as fuck.
I don't understand that family. I don't understand
their
popularity. I mean, yeah, I understand that part about them, but I've never understood the appeal.
That people are dumb, I guess. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't matter now. If they're popular or not now, it makes no difference. They're billionaires. Their money is made. They can I mean, maybe, who knows? They probably have money in like dumb places or something. I'm sure they just like
put all my resources into my Bored Ape collection.
We'll get into that later.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. I think like do you hear about the true terrorists though that are in our country?
Which ones?
Robert Smigel and Triumph Dance Comic.
Oh yeah.
So I guess like 7 people who Robert Smigel, who's the voice and puppeteer of the
Triumph
the Insult Comic Dog, and I guess a couple of people went to the Capitol to do some kind of bit, and I guess they did something wrong, and it was considered like trespassing, and they got arrested. I think they're fine now. And the right wing was trying to do this false equivalence thing.
Yeah, that was bizarre.
That,
they committed an insurrection or something.
Yes. Yeah, no joke. Tucker Carlson was saying that. I was like, are you fucking kidding? Like, these people are psychopaths. That's the thing too. These motherfuckers, if they don't get arrested, dude, there's people, they pass around memes like save the January 6 people that are still held in prison.
Yeah.
Like as if they're POWs in Vietnam.
I've seen some like really great artwork where they're like they show like a guy in jail wearing a MAGA hat, but he's got like angel wings, and he's like, it's just really tacky kind of.
Well, I mean, these are the same people who also like rooted on Kyle Rittenhouse. So
yeah.
So I mean, this is the other funny thing about January 6th. So a lot of the they'll talk to these like Republicans who are like, I don't agree with what Trump did. And I don't like how I believe that Biden was elected, and I think Trump should have like let it go, whatever.
However,
ask, if he runs again, would you vote for him? Yeah.
I don't understand that. I mean, I get people doing that, but I don't get people admitting to doing that,
Yeah. Like I don't know. Maybe the thing to say is, listen, I don't know if I can vote for a Democrat. Maybe I'll just stay home that day.
Right. Or like maybe we should start investigating a third party, even if you're not going to. That's when you start talking about that.
No, like I think Trump. Yes, I agree. I think Trump eats children and kills people and is actually from hell. Oh, that's crazy. If he ran again, would you vote for him? Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Go woke, go broke.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Don't see that Lightyear movie?
Yeah.
There's a lesbian kiss in there. Clearly, society is crumbling.
Well, they need to do something. I think these January 6th hearings are great. I read on the Washington Post ran a headline saying the Department of Justice put out some criminal subpoenas today, but I never really was able to find out much more about it. I don't know. I do know though that they need to do something. They need to do something quickly. I mean, we're going to talk in a little bit about the New Mexico County electors and everything. Some county in New Mexico where the electors refused to certify an election because they just didn't want to, and
well, the crazy part was the guy who was like the head of that had something to do with January 6th, and now he's like arrested or something.
Yeah, he was in jail, and then
he's like some MAGA nut.
Yeah, they said, I got the article here from the Washington Post. They said basically The Democrat won the election, and the county board of electors refused to certify it because they were distrustful of the Dominion machines. And so anyway, the Secretary of State's like, the fuck, you're distrustful of whatever. I don't care. You got to certify this election. Your job isn't to evaluate the election. Your job is to certify what the machines tell you to certify. And then, so anyway, one of them had been arrested for January 6th, and he had to participate via phone from jail. And
I'm a little incapacitated right now.
Yeah, the guy's name, his last name was Griffin. He was the founder of Cowboys for Trump. He spoke by phone from Washington, where he'd just been sentenced earlier to 14 days in jail. And then in his statements, he said, my vote, he's talking about whether to certify the election. My vote remains a no. It's not based on any evidence. It's not based on any facts. It's only based on my gut feelings and my own intuition. That's all I need.
Wow, I'm surprised he used the word intuition.
It's, yeah, right. It's just crazy. But anyway, the New Mexico Supreme Court granted an emergency petition by the Secretary of State demanding that the Otero commissioners do their job and approve the votes. It's just crazy. Like, these people are wandering around. Like, I don't want to do it. You know,
I think like this again, like I said in the last podcast, this is a preview of what you're going to see in a lot of areas in November, where if a Democrat wins in an area that might be considered red or purple, whatever, and the legislator leads on a Republican end, you're going to see this everywhere.
Yeah.
And it probably doesn't hurt though that we have a Democratic president with a Democratic, run administration. I'm sure, like you said, what did they do? They basically,
in New Mexico, the Democratic governor of New Mexico had her state attorney argue in front of the Supreme Court. These idiots in Otero County just needed to do their job, and they won pretty quickly and the county got ordered to certify the election. That's not going to happen.
I guess where there's states where the governor is Republican.
Yeah.
That's man, what? Did you see that one fucking ad from that one Republican running who like literally has a video where he's like threatening violence on his opponent?
Yeah, he lost an election a while back. He's the one who like
wasn't he also on January 6th?
No, I don't think so. But he kidnapped a woman and like and like literally tied her up and like took photographs of her nude and threatened to release them if she didn't keep quiet about their affair. I mean, there's like really serious criminal charges against this guy. And he's like leading the pack in Ohio for Senate or whatever.
Oh, I reported that one, and I reported that ad. So I'm like, this is literally threatening violence. There's no other word to describe it. I want to just go back real quick, back to the super quick, because I forgot to bring it up. With threat, I mean, it all plays together because it's still a Republican agenda, but like, attack on gay people and LGBT. There was this girl on Twitter that put out this tweet saying, like, let me see if I can find it. It's so funny. I mean, it's not funny. It was horrible what she said. See if I can find it. Kelly Neinhardt.
Yeah.
Let's start rounding up people who participate in Pride events.
Mm-hmm.
And I tweeted, I recorded and said, literal Nazi shit.
Yeah.
I mean, like, yeah. And then I put a thing and it said, like, how it started and then how it's going.
Yeah.
Her account was suspended.
Yeah.
And then people realized, like, she runs this group in like, was it Texas Protect
Texas Kids or something. It was an anti-LGBTQ group.
That got taken down too.
Yep. Yeah.
So we'll get to I guess I could have saved that for Musk later.
Yeah, but
he's probably thinking like, oh, if only Musk was there to protect me. Or she thinks that he would. He probably wouldn't. But yeah, that was gross. Yeah. And the only reason I brought up is because I was thinking of that guy with that ad with the gun. I mean, that was insane. I couldn't believe that wasn't. What was it, like he's going after rhinos or something?
Yeah. Well, somebody said, like, basically, they do this because they want the ad to get taken down. And
Yeah,
then
of course.
go,
And they could be the victim.
yeah, and then they go to Tucker, and Tucker plays the ad, and then they're like, "Oh, this was clearly tongue in cheek," and then the
It's
next
just a
thing you
joke.
know,
It's just a joke.
yeah, then they send out a email, "Hey, you need to save me from the woke media, by donating."
The woke mob.
Yeah,
The cancel culture. They're trying to cancel me. So
next
send
thing
me
you
all your
know,
money, dumb
you
dumbs.
won't be able to threaten your neighbor with violence, and so
Well, that's what that girl did too with the whole that she basically like people like, okay, she had to know that she would have gotten taken down.
Yeah.
I'm sure she's an idiot either way. But then what'd she do? She took a screenshot of it and put it on her page and basically like, oh, they're trying to silence me, which led to her other page getting taken down. That's the other thing they do. Like, they do that like game where that's like where they almost want to get like,
they want it. Yeah. Well, it is tough. I mean, the way, I don't know.
Speaking of cancel culture,
yeah,
the Attorney General from South Dakota canceled somebody's life years ago, and it finally caught up to him after like
2 years.
Like, so we've talked. You brought this up on the podcast, like I think like a year ago.
Yeah.
So what's the deal with the story again?
Okay, so this guy, this is like,
what state is this?
South Dakota. And it was the Attorney General.
One of the 12 Dakotas in our country.
Yep, Attorney General. And he was driving down the road, and he claims that he hit a deer. And then immediately after he hit the deer, he gathered up, he called the Department of Law Enforcement or whatever in South Dakota and started asking him all these questions like, what kind of evidence can they get from cell phones? And can they tell, like, all that kind of stuff? And
that's weird.
Anyways, it turns out this guy apparently was like scrolling news media on his phone, plowed over a dude, killed the guy. The guy got launched through the windshield. The guy's glasses were like found in the back seat of the car. And anyway, this guy just claimed he thought he hit a deer. And he clearly killed a guy. Like, and there was like blood all over his car. I mean, it was clearly he killed the guy, and he knew he killed the guy.
Been functioning Attorney General for years.
Has been ever since for the last 2 years. He's been the Attorney General, probably prosecuting
from the position, right?
Yeah, and it wasn't even unanimous. I looked up the South Dakota makeup. I guess there are 32 Republicans and 3 Democrats.
Wow, they're even.
Yeah, that right. Actually, totally. Yeah. And so
equal powers, both sides.
There was plenty of people that voted not to remove him from office. In that,
that's insane.
What?
That's insane.
Yeah, it's so crazy.
Should be like a easy, yeah, guys. I think we're all in agreement here.
It's not like you're gonna lose the seat to a Democrat.
Yeah, like in South Dakota, like the chance of a Democrat winning that is probably like
0,
next to nothing. I mean, I think what the Democrats should do in like the Dakotas is not run a human.
Yeah.
They should run a goat. And they would probably win.
Well, honestly,
if they ran a pack animal as like their candidate, because there's probably more farm animals than people in South Dakota. Right? Yeah. I think they should run an actual farm animal. They'd probably stand a better chance of getting Republicans to vote for it.
Yeah, I honestly like
those sheep fuckers in South Dakota. Yo, I don't know if I don't know anything about the Clammondale, whatever the name of the sheep thing. I don't know anything about the position on things, and I kind of align more with the her opponent's policies, but that sheep is damn sexy.
Right. You just put the sheep in a nice dress or something. I would say the Dakotas, from what it sounds like, might be one of those states where Democrats might just need to leave. like,
there's no point. Just go.
Yeah, like look, it doesn't look promising. There's like 32 Republican seats to 3 Democratic seats. I mean, like that seems to be like the kind of state where even young people are pretty Republican and whatever. I always kind of like, we say like, Texas or Florida are lost causes, but they're really not. They're reasonably close. They could switch in our lifetimes. No questions asked.
But then there's parts of the country that are just never going to.
Right. Like well, I don't know. I mean, like Doug Jones got in Alabama. Like
again, I bring this up. The only reason why he won by the skin of his teeth was because his opponent was an outright pedophile.
But that's the problem with places like South Dakota, is that they let a murderer serve as their top law enforcement official
people
for
in the
2
delegates
years.
were like, no, we're going to keep him. Like you
2
said,
years they let this
easily get another chud in that position.
And we're not even talking, like, that didn't need to be a legal case. They could have removed him this was an impeachment. They could have impeached him day one. They could have done that in like 20 minutes.
Like, maybe he should resign.
Yeah. We have 700 Republicans waiting to take your place.
In a normal world, whenever these guys do, murder someone, or like, you remember a couple years ago, there was like this guy running for Congress, this Republican guy, and he literally body slammed the reporter.
Yeah.
In a normal functioning democracy, that guy should have came out the next day and said, I'm ending my campaign.
Yep.
And what happened? He won.
Yeah. Well, that is how, like,
insane.
But that's how, like, maybe, and Dakota's a bad example because it's so Republican, but like maybe that prompts people to reconsider their support for the Republican Party. Hey, they supported the murderer for a couple years, and then
but those gas prices, man.
Yeah. But that's
I just think it's funny though. Like, people think the Republicans are going to win in 2022 the House and Senate because of the gas prices. And it's like, do you think the Republicans are going to be better? They literally voted against the
gas tax suspension.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. I mean, like, the Republicans don't have to make logical arguments.
No, they don't.
They're better off not making logical
There's enough
arguments.
reactionary morons in this country that have the brain capacity of a fly that aren't going to remember that, anything from a year ago, let alone last week.
Well, this is a good transition and example. The Uvalde police. I guess Uvalde should be a pretty liberal place, but it's not. There's like a whole bunch of MAGA chuds running the town.
The mayor is like one of the worst.
Yep.
He said he's like a Fox News a Fox News regular.
Yeah.
Uvalde was where that horrible school shooting happened in the end of May.
Yep. And you wonder, like, what will happen? Will they swing left next election?
I don't know, but the other thing is that a bunch of stuff came out, and the cops, it was revealed that the door was not locked.
No, they just sat in the hallway.
The cops claimed they couldn't get in because the door was locked, which sounds so stupid. Like, really? You can't bust it in? Kick it. They have fucking battering rams they use. Those battering rams?
Yeah.
That's only when they want to evict somebody.
Well, they had a crowbar on them. A special kind of crowbar. I forget the name of it. But
so the lock thing was always bullshit. But the fact is that they were just lying about the lock to begin with.
The whole thing was lying, and they're blaming teachers. They're pointing. It's a horrible thing.
More and more stuff comes out that it's possible that the cops, some of them or whatever, possibly could have killed some of the kids.
Yeah. So places like that, like, I don't know. I mean, could this result in some of those people maybe reevaluating their support for Republicans? Maybe. I don't know. I think places
I think people are so, their brains are fried.
Yeah.
They're so, you could have a horrible incident, man, but it's really tough to try to challenge someone's brain who's been ingesting right-wing propaganda for the past 2 decades. True. I mean, your brain is conditioned.
Well, one of the good things that has come out of the Uvalde thing is, I guess, we're real close to getting legislation passed on gun control, and it's not
not the gun control I would want. It's like a very milksop.
It's a very watered down one. Like that, you and I were talking about this before we recorded. this isn't nearly enough.
Not at all, but
But
it's something.
it's something. It is something. And I mean, I'll take it. Like, part of me is like,
but it's not enough. Like, they can't be like, yeah, we did something. It's like, okay, so what does this do? Supposedly, this bill they're trying to push through.
It does like several things. And let me see.
Does it raise the age? So that's the thing too. If it doesn't raise the age to 21,
it doesn't. It raises the age for certain background checks. Like, it used to be that 18-year-olds would go through the same background checks as 30-year-olds, and now if you're under 21, you have a more extensive background check. It puts more funding for crisis centers and red flag laws, which is where that allows authorities to temporarily confiscate guns from individuals that are deemed a threat to themselves or others.
You said something about the abusive relationship one.
Yeah, it changed the law so that it used to be that only a spouse who was convicted of domestic violence had their guns taken, but now it's a boyfriend or girlfriend too. And it closed some loopholes where, like, you could basically have like someone else living in the home technically own the guns. You know what I mean? Like, oh, if I can't own guns, I'm just going to give them all to my.
Yeah, it's kind of like the Kyle Rittenhouse excuse. He even said it in court where it was like, because he was not legally allowed to hold that gun that he killed those people.
Right.
He was able to use the whole like, well, my friend is of age was holding it for me.
Yeah.
And that's how I was able to get it. And that should have been right from the start.
Yep.
That should have been like the end of it. It was like, what the fuck do you need that for? You know, it's like clearly you had malintent from the start.
Yeah.
So
it does a few other things. Like it said, it gives some funding for mental health. And it also it tightens up the number of people that have to register as gun sellers. It doesn't fix the gun show.
That's a big one. See, it just doesn't do enough. It's like I mean, there's some stuff there, and yeah, if it gets through, it's an accomplishment. But like, that's not enough. It's not enough because what will happen is there'll be shootings, and then the douchebags on the right, some people will be like, "Look, they put in a law, didn't do anything." And it's like,
yeah,
we knew this law was like just the beginning, and this is going to take any laws that go into effect. Even if they did ones where actually really restricted gun sales or restricted certain weapons or anything like that would take years for it to have any like positive effect on the country. But these type of reactionary douchebags will, like, a shooting could be like a month later, a really bad one, and then they could be like, look, laws don't work. And it's like, well, they already had the gun.
Well,
it takes years for yeah.
I think the thing here is, though, you get something on the books and you've moved the goalposts a little bit. And the Republicans are real good at this. They will chip away at rights, moving the ball further.
Right, but the minute like the Senate, the Congress and Senate go to the Republicans, they'll immediately put in a law that eliminates that law.
Well, yeah, then I agreed. But like, ideally, like you make them fight for it too, and it's frustrating. But like, look, the alternative is like not doing it.
I mean, again, I just think like the reality is it should have been what they should have put in if they really wanted to do something was 21.
Yeah.
You can't own a weapon like that. You can't go out and buy this until you're 21. I mean, you can't buy beer. You shouldn't be allowed to own an AR-15.
Right.
Did you see that story about that guy in Oklahoma that was like walking around suspiciously with like
a tactical vest?
Yeah. And like, I don't know where it was, but it was like freaking the fuck out of people. They went to the cops. The cops basically said, yeah, we can't do anything about it.
Here's what I don't understand. Like, if you, based on these types of laws, let's say I own a pawn shop.
Well, hold on. Do you know how he got arrested eventually? You know why?
No, why?
Because you're not allowed to have brass knuckles in Oklahoma. So he had brass knuckles on. So they were able to arrest him because of that. Not because he was walking around with an AR-15 full tactical vest, because he had a fucking brass knuckle.
See, I don't understand. Like, let's say I own a bank or a pawn shop, or somewhere where there's like a lot of cash, and I'm a teller, and I see someone jog into my store with a rifle.
How were you supposed to react to that?
And I shoot and kill them. Do I get in trouble? Do you know, like, wouldn't it seem like you could do that? I don't know. It just seems like real confusing.
It's odd. It's like if you're in a bank that's known for historically getting robbed by guys with guns, and a guy walks in with a gun,
right?
I would feel uneased. Yeah, I would be hitting that button that's like on the thing that calls the cops immediately.
Yeah,
I don't care if that guy's freedom. I guess you could, honestly though, if he's walking around outside your store, it's a story, but you can have a policy on your door that says no guns allowed. And and if you have that policy, if it's trespassing or anything like that, you could call the cops. Like Target has that. Like after, like, I don't know if you remember, like during the Obama years, there'd be all these like gun nut assholes, gun right activists, and they would go to like Target. And this one asshole was like holding an AR-15, and he was like holding Oreos, which was like this racist knock on Obama. Yeah. And it's like this fucking dirt. He's just like a dirtbag, this guy. And then Target just like put up things like, yeah, you're not allowed in here with a gun. Like, I think the one by where I used to live, where you're near, has a sign, literally says you cannot come in here with a gun. It's not welcome. And I think my favorite was some asshole posted some image of like walking into Walmart when they were 15, and like he was trying to like prove some point, and then people like pointed out like this image is like 15 years old. It's like there's a sign that literally says like the iPhone like 3 or something. Like, fuck off, dude. But what the fuck was I talking about?
Yeah, well, the people carrying weapons in.
Oklahoma. Yeah, so in Oklahoma, the guy was arrested finally because he had brass knuckles, not because of the fucking AR-15. Like I said, dude, I mean the power of a knuckle. I mean, if he would swing a punch, he would kill 40 people with his metal. Yeah.
I remember when I lived in Massachusetts, they still had a lot of like super old laws, and one I always remember it because I worked in mental health, and we dealt with a lot of people that were involved in the criminal justice system too. One kid was arrested for attacking someone with a shod foot, and it was basically a shod foot, SHOD foot, and it was basically he wore Doc Martens with a steel toe and kicked.
I had steel toe boots when I was a kid.
And he kicked someone repeatedly with these steel toe boots. And
if you went to like concerts like Pantera or any of those, you had to have steel toe boots. Let me tell you, I got kicked and it fucking hurt. You needed protection. People would stomp on you with their fucking, and at least the steel toe would like have some protection.
Right. Well, anyway, I don't know. I'm glad for the gun control. I think
just don't think it amount. I think it's not going to do enough. I mean, it's just not. I mean, it doesn't even do the easiest thing, which is like, okay, as a reaction to Uvalde, this kid was 18, the law should be 21. Yeah, that should have been like, it's a no-brainer. I don't even understand that one. Like, you can make an argument and say, like, if you can't fucking even buy alcohol, you shouldn't be allowed to own an AR-15. Well, I want my 21-year-old to be drunk while he holds the AR-15.
I think though that this is good in the sense that it moves the goalposts a little bit, and you can look at it and say like, well, we passed gun control law, and so the next time you go do it, it's easier to get people on board. You can say to like, I don't know if old man Cornhole's going to win his Senate race next time, or if he's even going to run, but you can say like, look, this guy supported gun control and he won his district. You can do this.
Yeah, no, I know. It weakens the NRA in any way possible.
Yeah, it makes them less.
But the problem is, like, I don't even think the NRA is that powerful anymore. I think it's just the entire Republican Party is like, there's no, like, they are the same thing. They're one and the same. Real quick though, before we move on to the next thing, Ron Johnson. Have you heard? This is kind of going back to the 6 thing. Did you see the stuff that came out about him? First of all, he said he was going to run again. Now he's running, of course, because he's a liar. Right. But I guess, like, or did he get in trouble? Or like a bunch of stuff came out, like him.
Well, his chief of staff texted Mike Pence's people and said, Ron wants to hand you papers and right before you certify the election, and he was going to give them false electors. And Pence's people said, absolutely don't do that. And so then they didn't. But like, then the reporters are like, so who asked you? And Ron's like, I don't know. And they're like, well, did you see the papers? I don't know what you're talking. This is a non-story. And it looked terrible. And then he was like,
trying to blame his intern or something.
Yeah, but then he was pretending to be on the phone, and the reporters were like, we can see your screen. Like, you're not on the phone. You're just like,
that's so funny.
So he's one of the worst. He's probably one of the worst.
This is the guy who, well, he's a Trump psychophant, but he's also famous for being like one of the 6 or 8 Republicans that went to Moscow on July 4th, like in 2018. That's
and
weird.
He's done such terrible things to Wisconsin. Wisconsin used to be a pretty reasonable place. It's become kind of a hellhole the last 10 years. And it's
space for that.
Scott Walker and Paul Ryan and Ron Johnson, frankly. I mean, it's those big people.
Well, I mean, the people, if it is a state that has voted in progressives before, then there should be no fucking reason why Ron Johnson can't win. But I don't get it. I don't know.
Well, the next, this is kind of an odd shift. There's a story you sent to me that was an interesting one about the parallels between the Bored Ape Yacht Club and Nazism.
Yeah.
And it was an interesting video.
There's this video basically called Bored Ape Nazi Club.
Yeah.
And the guy goes like real deep dive. I mean, he's talking like coded language and all this shit. Like, almost sounds like some QAnon stuff in a way. But like, he's bringing up like really good points and just bringing up like how there's that these Bored Ape things are inherently racist, which I've heard that a while ago. And I mean, you see them and they are just gross. They're just gross. The whole thing is bizarre. So Bored Ape is like, I guess, is considered the most successful NFT, right?
Yeah, by far, I think.
And they've gotten like celebrities to jump on this, like Madonna, Jimmy Fallon, Paris Hilton,
Seth Green,
who had his Bored Ape stolen, but thanks to Darkwing Duck, I don't know, which Seth Green put out the funniest thing he did in years with that tweet. Yeah. And again, I love that one guy who's like, I have some, I can help you with this. And he's like, really? He's like, I didn't think you were going to respond. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Really there is some weird, like, I guess this guy does this full investigation. Like I said, it's like an hour-long video. And he's pointing out, like, first of all, like the people who like run this shit, and like they have like kind of like some shady past or like some interesting ties to things that go back to like 4chan and all this, like, and they just bring it up like some of the symbolism that's in the Bored Apes, like the Prussian army like emblem, 18 teeth on the monkeys, which is like Hitler or something like that. How like something to do with Hitler. The number 18 has like something to do with like Nazis and shit. And the fact that like there's all kinds of like awful, like in the video game, you throw bananas, but the bananas are literally as they're spinning, it looks like a swastika.
I watched.
And then like some of the letters on some of the like uniforms that these apes are wearing are really. Oh, and the fucking logo is literally the German.
SS.
Like it was like what?
Wasn't it like the SS Luftwaffe logo? The skull
the
logo?
skull.
Yeah.
Do you remember years ago Walmart was selling a shirt with that skull in it? And they were like, what the fuck? I guarantee you though, let me tell you, people are like, oh, Walmart had no fucking clue. I guarantee there was a style guide floating around that every artist got their hand on that had like all kinds of like Illustrator files with different skulls, and that skull was one of them. And I guarantee you, some idiot was told like, hey, I need like 10 shirts and I need them like by the end of the day. I need 10 skull shirts. And this guy just went into
picked one out of random.
And picked it out of random. Now, it's possible that that person knew what it was and they're evil for doing it, or funny, depending on what their politics are. Or probably most likely, that person had no idea. Just saw, oh, that's a cool looking kind of skull. And the art director had no fucking idea, signed off on it, and it ended up in the Walmart's hand, the buyer. And they were just like, I don't know, skull sell. I'll put it out. Sir, there's an SS symbol on it. You sure you want?
I don't know. I watched most of that video. I didn't watch all of it, and it's weird because like I totally believe the guy's basic premise. I mean, I believe what he's saying. I just don't know if I found his evidence to be really compelling. I don't know if you need a lot of evidence. You know what I mean?
The point being is that he's just saying that like this shit needs to be exposed.
Yeah.
Shit, like the fact that all these celebrities need to like be told and be exposed. Like, dude, do you understand what you're endorsing? Like, do you understand what you're selling? Did you see that fucking videos of that cringe fest? There was like a Bored Ape party in New York.
I did, yeah, and there was no one there. Yeah, I think I saw that same video on TikTok.
It looked terrible.
It looked terrible. I like with that video, I love watching it because I love watching stuff like that. I'm kind of a sucker for those like hidden message type of deals and symbolism and all that. I just thought with like the Bored Ape Club, if you just said to me, this is a huge part of like crypto culture, it's really advocated for by crypto bros who love Elon Musk, and they're all like free market maximalists and
they like to say things like globalist, and they fall Nazi conspiracies.
They call themselves free speech absolutists. You don't need to do too much more work to have me convinced that they're Nazis. You know,
free speech absolutists is kind of funny because it's like, well, it's not funny. These are usually when someone says that they're free speech absolutists, there's a really good chance that they're Nazis. But the irony is that they are not for free speech. They want their ability to say and do whatever they want, and they want published on the airwaves, and they want to be able to have free reign of everything. But man, if they ever get into power, there ain't no such thing as free speech ever again.
That's
why I always find that to be like ironic, that term.
It's unlikely that these free speech absolutists are demanding that the library continue to carry Heather Has Two Mommies.
Yes.
You know, they're not, that's not what they're doing.
Right.
So I don't know. So anyway, with that, I'm like, look, I already kind of thought they were all Nazis. If you just pointed out some like general themes, I could have gotten there myself very quickly. The ape having 18 teeth, is that like compelling evidence to me? It's interesting. I mean, I don't.
Well, he was pointing out that these guys love to do like secret codes and shit.
Yeah, and like, I believe that.
You know, it's like he says it's really just a big Nazi troll, the whole thing, and it's like, what was it? There was like the one that was like a Bosch, a remake of a Bosch painting, or
a Hieronymus Bosch,
that famous painting, but it was Bored Ape, and he was pointing out the severed monkey hand, the symbolism behind that, going back to like, again, it's like Prussia's like ties to Nazis. It's just some crazy shit. I mean, listen, it's a rabbit hole, but like you said, is it hard to believe it's not?
Right. It's like,
I mean, like those things are like inherently racist looking. They're hideous.
Yeah. And you just look at the people that advocate for them. They're all crypto bros. They're all, I mean, it's just, I don't know. It doesn't take much work. And sometimes I wonder if a video like that kind of chips away at the obvious. Like if these people now are like, well, that whole thing with the little OK symbol being white power and everything, like their defense is always like, people have used the OK symbol for years. And blah, blah.
Yeah, but the way they would flash it would be either on the side of their by their pans. They would have it so that you could only like they're doing it as a that's intentional. That's
why I never liked the argument that about the hand signal, even though it was a good argument. It's more like, no, just look at who they are and what they do. There's plenty of evidence to suggest they're awful.
Like if there's a picture of 6 cops and they're all white, and the white guy in the side corner has the OK symbol resting on his side, on his leg, he's flashing a white power symbol.
And if maybe he has 7 excessive force complaints against him, and they all stem from arresting young black men, and his arrest ratio is out of what, maybe that's the thing that says he's a racist rather than the OK symbol. I agree that the OK symbol is certainly evidence.
Well, the OK symbol should be more like, hey, you see what that guy's doing?
Yeah.
Let's look at his records.
That's it. So like
it should be like more like a cause for alarm, you know? It's like
well, let's take a closer look. Thanks for giving us a heads
hey,
up.
Hey, that tattoo you have on your arm is interesting. What is that? And then it's like that triangle symbol that the guy showed in this video. And it's like, oh, that's some Nazi shit. Okay, let's look into your past a bit.
Right.
Oh.
Yeah. Let's take a look at let's go look at your old social media posts. Let's go like
oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, this post you said when you said that Charlottesville was no big deal. Oh, that's interesting.
Right. So anyway, I 100% agree with it. That the Bored Ape Yacht Club has probably got like a lot of overlap with toxic white nationalist Nazi bullshit.
Well, it's not even just like, okay, the users, whatever. He's saying that the fucking creators of it know exactly what they're doing, and like it needs to be exposed. Like it's not just like, oh, there's people who saw it, ran wild, and made it into like a Pepe thing, where it's like guy just drew it and it morphed and turned into something out of his control. Which I always then like. I wish he just would have just killed it. He killed it, and then he still sold NFTs of it. He still fucking like sold merch with it.
Gold mine, yeah.
What?
It's his gold mine now.
Yeah, but like I would be like, I would question the people who want to own it.
Yeah,
I'd be like,
for sure.
I'd be like, oh, the guy buying the Pepe NFT is probably not someone I would really want to be associated with.
No.
Like, there's too much history behind it. I don't think you can sanitize it at this point.
Yeah.
Sorry, just can't move on. No, besides that, Nazi shit, the Bored Ape thing's just hideous to begin with. There's gonna be a lot of people who are gonna be stuck with some real garbage. They're gonna be like,
I always pointed to them as a good example of an NFT that actually did do something, and I still stand by that. Like, you could use it as a ticket to events. That was a thing.
Who cares?
I know. I'm just saying, like,
anything for that.
But that's like saying, like, I have 5 tickets to go see the Wiggles tonight. Yeah, I don't want it. I think that's a bad event. But like, oh, maybe some people like to go see the Wiggles.
Yeah, but do you need to have fucking like running on Ethereum on a fucking
no, of course not. But like,
no, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I agree.
There's no utility. They're a scam. They're a pyramid scheme. There's people who I can't believe like the fact that people still like my favorite to this point now, whenever they announce a new NFT, the reactions on social media are so funny.
Yeah,
people are like, well, first of all, crypto in general has took a fucking bath.
Oh, right? Yeah.
And this is a good transition to Musk. So let's talk about this a second. So I think I don't know what it is now. I think it went back up a bit, but last time I checked Bitcoin, it got down to like 18,000. Last I checked, it was at like 20. Now, someone listening to this might be like, oh, that's not that bad. It's like, yeah, I mean, doesn't sound bad, but yeah, right now it's worth $20,412.
And Ethereum's worth a little over 1,000.
But people have to realize that at one point recently, not too long ago, Bitcoin was worth like 66 grand.
Yeah, easily. Yeah.
My value of Bitcoin is worth half. I bought some early in 2021.
Yep.
Wisest decision ever made.
Yes.
I always wanted to learn what it was like to just cut my money in half. I think I spent like a little over 200. It is now worth the value. I bought it when it was like at 30,000, I think.
Yeah.
It is now worth $96.33.
Okay. So you've lost about half your money.
More than half.
Yeah.
More than half. I don't know. Regardless, it is I don't know what this means. People are like, buy the dip. I mean, listen, if Bitcoin went down to like a nickel,
yeah, sure,
I might buy $1 worth.
Yeah,
because hey, if it goes up to
even 1,000,
buck, I made $4. Like, I just think that like this shit's gonna die at some point. Now I know you said the components is a different story. That's a different story, but I think like. Stocks are different because it involves like companies. There's like there's a company, a product, usually something, an idea backing it, but this is different. And I think people are starting to realize this thing's a scheme. Did you see that Iran like basically shut down crypto mining. Like they were
I've
like
seen a few places. Yeah.
they're like because it sucks the shit out of resources.
Well, that's the thing that's been scary in Texas from an electrical standpoint, is that Texas is really advocated they want to set up Bitcoin mining towns, right? But the grid can't even handle the demand it currently experiences.
I mean, it's absolutely insane. Like, what was it? The joke was that they were like in South America and they got kicked out, and Texas was like, "Come here," and
Yeah.
then right was it wasn't even like in the United States originally, and
Yeah.
Texas was like, "Yeah, come here. We have no regulations. We have less regulations than a third world
The
country."
third world country.
Yeah. And what was it like when the power was going out during like that? We had that little winter snap earlier this year, and they were like begging these crypto companies like just shut down for a week.
Right. Just for
yeah, and they're like, why would we? That's why we came here.
Well,
you let us in. We're the parasite. You don't invite a parasite in.
Yeah, right. Well, this is the transition, I guess, because Elon Musk was real supportive of moving a lot of his stuff to Texas, and he was real supportive of crypto. It was kind of like this big package grift. Yeah.
Hold on, I'm trying to find this thing about where are you? Yeah, someone's suing him now for like what, $258 billion because of him, and he's suing Elon Musk and Tesla for basically manipulating the market on Doge. And which is exactly what he did. The other day he tweeted out like, I still believe in Doge, and
I saw that.
Like, you didn't even buy it, or you like sold it, I don't know, something. And it was like, dude, that's all this guy does now is just manipulate the market. The fact that he doesn't face any repercussions for doing this is like elite. This is illegal shit.
Yeah.
I mean, fuck. What's her face go to jail for like a
year? Martha Stewart.
Yeah, what did she go in jail for?
It was like, basically insider trading.
How is this not, like,
well, I don't know. I mean, you'd have to see what he bought and sold on it, but it does, I don't know, it brings up some questions for sure.
Okay, so I'm trying to find the thing about Iran though. Give me one sec.
Yeah.
What were you gonna talk about though at Musk?
Well, we were gonna wind up with him perhaps still purchasing Twitter. I guess the board approved it unanimously to let him buy Twitter, and that was the next step. Now shareholders have to agree to it. So it looks more likely now. It's been exhausting because it looked like it was a done deal, then it looked like it wasn't going to happen, then it looked like it was a done deal, and then it looked like it wasn't going to happen, and now it's back to looking like a done deal.
I'm telling you, I think he's just going to destroy it. They ain't going to get back. Whatever the right wing thinks that he's going to like allow people to say whatever they want on Twitter and turn it back into 2015.
Yeah,
I've heard it. I said that. I'm like, I can't even imagine what Twitter was like in 2015. It must have been a horror show, like pre-Trump, like really running. And because they're specifically picking that time. That's like when all those awful like characters were running wild and just putting out like Stefan Molyneux. Real hideous like white supremacists, white nationalists, Nazis running rampant on Twitter. And these people think that like Musk is gonna like open the door and allow that to happen and basically silence the people that were supposedly the ones silencing people, which is like a joke in itself. But the reality is what's going to happen is a bunch of bad, poor money-making poor attempts to make Twitter profitable or whatever it is they want Twitter to be. It ain't going to happen. It's going to ruin it, and people are just going to leave. Like, I mean, if Twitter went away tomorrow, I'd be like, well, maybe I'll read a book instead.
I'd go on Reddit more than I do.
I don't really like Reddit. Reddit's weird. Reddit's like a weird maze. I have a hard time with Reddit.
Not that this is like terribly interesting to anyone else, but I like going on like if there's something you really like, like I like talking about grammar sometimes, because I do editing on occasion. It's really kind of cool because it's like people that are hyper good at something all kind of get in there. There's this real funny thing. Apparently, one of the best things you can do on Reddit is you go in there and you ask a question, hoping that experts will answer you. And this one guy on Reddit said the best strategy on Reddit is to go to like a subtopic and then pose a question. And then with your backup account, answer the question incorrectly. Because no one's going to answer your question, but people will pile on to explain why the other person is wrong in his or her answer to you. So that's the strategy.
People suck.
You'd be like, hey, I started up my iMac and I got error message 610. What does that mean? No one will answer you. And then, but if you're in your dummy account, you say, hey, 610 means you need to reboot the hard drive. Like, boom, 30 answers. Like,
now you're trending. There's some Reddit gold. I mean, it's not the same thing as Twitter.
True.
I posted artwork on there. I've gotten some pretty good response from it. I
Yeah.
still have a hard time trying to figure out where to post it.
Yeah, it's tough.
It's really weird. People get like real finicky, like, this is not right for this page.
Right.
This isn't right. I'm like, oh, shut the fuck up. Just because there's a Hello Kitty and I'm posting a Trump drawing. Some of the moderators are like weird. They're like all like little power hungry.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I can shut down a post like nothing.
Yep, it's like having like 7,000 little Elon Musks. So,
well, I just think like in the end of the day, he's not going to do anything to make Twitter better.
He will either ruin it and everyone will leave, or very little change.
Nothing. The only I'm sorry, I just don't think like the only thing I think like is that he would let Trump come back on.
Yeah.
And Trump would come back on.
That would just be demoralizing. Like, that would be a really shitty feeling.
I would just leave Twitter at that point. I'd be like, nah, bye.
Yeah.
I mean, I was on there when he was on there, but I felt like when they finally got rid of him, they got rid of him for a good reason, which was like, igniting a terrorist attack in our nation's capital.
If you let him come back on, you're kind of retroactively saying that everything he said was fine.
Yeah. You're saying that the attack on the Capitol that he instigated and false election stuff was
it's all good.
You invalidate or you validated him.
Yeah.
And you invalidated his crimes. I mean, like, I think he's full of shit though, Musk. I mean, like, I don't know why he's trying to court the right. I don't get it. Maybe because they kiss his ass so much more. Like, he does. The thing is, like, okay, with like progressives and like left-leaning people, stuff like that, you have to like, it's harder to like have people like kiss your ass. I mean, they'll respect you maybe, but like they're not gonna like praise you. Like, I mean, you're not, unless you're Bernie Sanders.
I was gonna say Bernie.
Bernie might be the only one that like it's like praise, but that's not true because I've seen a lot of progressives that don't like him either. But like,
like that's a good example. He is the closest you'd get to that on the left.
But like, at least with him, I feel like at least there's a good reason.
Yeah.
But with Musk, it's like, I mean, all these people are like, they're just like sucking his dick on Twitter. It's like, terrible. Oh my, they think like he's gonna like, it's like, dude, it's just some billionaire asshole. He doesn't give a fuck about you. You see the thing about his kid came out trans and like basically said like, I don't want anything to do with it.
Yeah, that was real sad.
They're 18 now. I mean, he must be horrible.
Yeah.
He must be absolutely horrible. If like, I mean, you're 18 and you want to like, I mean, I would imagine that like he's gone on Twitter and been like, pronouns are stupid.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you mean pronouns? Everyone uses pronouns. It's stupid. That's stupid what you just said. Everyone uses them. Like, they use them when they don't even realize it. They're using them.
Yeah. Yeah. All the time. Oh, wow.
Did they?
Yeah, that's the thing is the people use that all the time. Their friends in the bathroom and the waiter comes by and you say they'll be right back. You don't say
he'll be right back.
Yeah. Or maybe you do, but you're just as likely to say they. That's a real
just
common
fucking
expression.
Stupid. It's fucking stupid. But hey, real quick, I just want to. This is the last thing I want to talk about. I was trying to find a thing about Iran and stuff like that, but like So there's been talks of the this will be the last topic we'll wrap this up. Recently there was a convention in Texas for it was like last week. I think it might have happened like after we did our podcast, so we couldn't really talk about it. There was like a GOP Texas convention,
right?
And they put in like all this like whatever their platform is, and it's of course anti-LGBT, it's anti like I forgot, they put in some real crazy shit in there. They attacked like Dan Crenshaw, or people were there attacking.
Yeah.
There was this other guy attacking Cruz. They were like,
I saw that. That was funny.
Yeah, that was great. That guy is horrible, but like it's funny. This guy who's like I don't know if he's like some Infowars nut, but he attacked Cruz on like all this stuff that like crosses party line, where like you fled the state when it froze.
Right.
You did Trump like said your wife ugly, and you still like kissed his ass. It was great. Like this guy probably is. I mean, he's calling him a globalist and all that shit, which is like a red flag right there. But like, hey, he hit all the right beats when it came to attacking Cruz. I mean, Cruz fled the state when it froze. There's no excuse.
That is hilarious.
I mean, that should always be brought up.
Oh yeah,
if that motherfucker ever runs for president, the first thing any of his opponents in the primary should say to Cruz is like, what happens if like the country's under attack? Are you gonna get on your plane and go to Cancun?
What if it gets cold?
What if it gets cold in DC? Are you gonna flee to Cancun?
Yeah.
Like no, but I mean you could bring that up. Like in a way, the weather in Texas was like a terrorist attack. You know, it was like uncontrolled, like people didn't know what to do. And when the going got tough, Ted Cruz fled.
It was like a terrorist attack that someone on the TV told you to expect 5 days earlier. Like,
that's why Cruz bought his tickets and got the fuck out. He prepared. He's like, I'll be out of here. But one of the big things they put in was something about succeeding.
Yeah.
And I'd say, go ahead. Yeah. I know you're probably like, well, I live here.
Well, they can't. I mean, like let
them. I've heard my entire adult life, Texas threatening to succeed. I heard Rick Perry say it a bunch of times. I've heard Abbott. They usually do it when a Democrat's president. They was threatening to succeed. Go ahead. Please do. Now, you know these guys are full of shit, because the minute there's like any kind of disaster or any aid that is needed, Rick Perry, Abbott, their hands are out to the federal government pleading for dollars. But I'd say, well, someone brought up a good point today. I saw on Twitter, it said that Texas would never succeed because then all the college sports would not be able to participate with the other colleges.
Well, they couldn't, and also
which I think is so funny and football is more important than anything in Texas. So
and what do they? I mean, like, it just doesn't make any sense. How many steel mills does Texas have?
It doesn't matter. These fucking assholes say they want to succeed. Go ahead. I'd say that should be the reaction.
Call their bluff.
Go ahead. What?
Call their bluff.
Yeah, go ahead.
We'll have Merrick Garland draw up the paperwork. Where should we mail it?
Like, go ahead. You want to succeed? You know, it's like telling a kid, like the kid's like, I'm gonna run away. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
What are you gonna do to take care of yourself? I think it's funny, but I think that should be the reaction anytime these assholes say that. It should just be like, all right. I mean, like, I can't say we'll miss you.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I know you're like, I live here. What the hell?
Well, no, I mean, like, it's just they can't. I mean, like, when states do this, like California would sometimes say we're seceding, but California could actually do it because California has like
California could literally succeed.
They have a pretty balanced economy. They have like agriculture. They actually have some oil. They have tech. They have manufacturing. California is a pretty complete package. Not many states are. Like, I can't think of hardly any other states that are. That's probably like unique in that way. So
Texas doesn't have any steel mills? No,
I don't think so. I mean, like
gay steel mills from The Simpsons.
Yeah,
we work hard and we play hard too.
So,
Dad, why did you take me to a gay steel mill? Hot stuff coming through.
Oh, jeez.
That's such a good episode.
That was a good one.
But I encourage it. I want Well, one, because I'm out of there. So
yeah, I'm not going to hold my breath on them actually.
Let's say it happened. What would you do?
Oh, I don't know. That's a good question. That would be like pretty unprecedented.
I would think it would bring down the property values like crazy.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. I mean, like, honestly, if something like that were to happen, there'd be probably some sort of freeze in property values or something like it. That's, I guess, like one part of the larger story is that, like, how would any of it happen? Like, how would the interstates belong to the United States? How are they going to keep the roads? I mean, like, that doesn't make any sense either. I mean, like, none of it makes sense.
So I'm just saying, do you think a lot of people would flee the state
or
the country because
if you could pretend that like it happened and all the problems associated with it,
like the interstate highways, that type of stuff.
I mean, I would probably move then, but like so many things would have happened along the way that I don't know that it would be possible. You know what I mean? Like,
you just wake up tomorrow,
yeah,
found out that Texas has seceded from the United States. Biden said, "All right, have a good day."
If that were to happen,
it's like I'm your new president.
You'd just as likely see like Dallas secede from Texas, right? I mean, like then you're getting like pretty ridiculous.
No, I'm getting ridiculous. I know, like, the whole thing is ridiculous because it's so stupid. They keep saying this, and like you said, just the highways alone is like, but I'm just saying, like, what does Texas think is going to happen if they did succeed from the country?
I mean, like, what Texas has a National Guard, but that's probably like 1,500 troops. You know, I mean, like, I mean, like, honestly, if Texas were to secede and become its own country, Mexico would probably take it. Frankly, I mean, like, Mexico would be a towering giant, and Texas
would seize definitely the southern part of it.
Yeah, I mean, like
hey, take some of that back.
I don't think they've thought like any of that through. So
no, well, it is a thoughtless statement. I feel like you're putting too much actual real thought into it. I'm just saying, like,
like imagining I'd leave. I mean, if that were the case, then it would be to the point where
in reality, if they were to succeed, there's definitely be some real major shifts and horrible shit happening in this country.
Yeah,
and there would be a horrible domino effect. It would be almost like the South would just split or something.
Well, it would be real bad because then you would be like, well, I'm going to move to Colorado, but like in Colorado, Denver would probably be safe, but like Western Colorado would probably be seceding from Colorado, and Eastern Oregon would be seceding from
some kind of insane.
We'd have 700 different states, you know, and split into 4 countries.
Think of the old Mr. Show skit where like David Cross has his own country, but it's just like an acre of land, and and he goes into town trying to convert his money, like his dollars into our dollars, and they're like, "What the fuck?" And then like he's trying to get water, but like he's not attached to the like because he's his own country now. Yeah, I mean, it's so stupid. I mean, but they keep doing it, and it's like, anytime it's on, someone should be like, "Yeah, go ahead, do it."
Well, it's like an idiot. It's like the idiot 3 houses down from you wanting to secede from the city. Like, okay,
good. Go try to go throw out your own garbage. Go drain your water or dirty water somewhere else because you can't use our pipes anymore. You're not
disconnecting your toilets,
sewer anymore.
So anyway,
and also you're not attached to the grid either. So good luck.
Wow. Anyway, that's a good place. That's good luck. That's a good place to end it. That's good.
It's just this, like I said, I've heard this my whole life, and it's like they all huff and puff when they do it, and I just say, go right in.
Yeah.
Please do. I would love to. One, like you said, yes, it would be fucking chaos, and there'd be like splintering off, and then every chud, like all of a sudden, like in California, Northern California, be like, we're succeeding from California, it would be like a disaster.
Mhm.
So, but no, just imagine in the known world, Texas succeeds from the United States by itself. No, doesn't create a tailwind effect. Nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, then we'd be able to be like, I don't know, we have an issue with our southern border.
Yeah,
southern border is right below like Oklahoma.
Yeah, that's funny.
Panhandle.
Oh well.
All right. Well, yeah. On that note, I'm Rob Israel.
I'm Joseph K.
And you still going on about
that.
Thank you for listening to You Still Going On About That. Please like, comment, share, and if you haven't done already, please follow us on Instagram, YSGOAT, Facebook, YSGOAT, and Twitter, YSGOAT. Thank you, and have a great day.